Welcome to episode 61 of Tech of a Tea. I'm, as always, your host, Brody Robertson, and today we have a interesting guest. I don't think it would be fair to call you just like a Linux YouTuber, because that doesn't really accurately describe your channel. While you do some Linux content from time to time, and you'll do some like movie review stuff as well, you'll also do things like the one you released today. That's showing the wrong screen. I'll fix
An
that.
interesting video.
The Marge Simpson installs Arch Linux. Now,
Oh yeah.
would you like to explain that while I fix up my scene?
I can explain. So sometimes, well, before I even began with Linux stuff, which I've used Linux since I was much younger, but before I began making videos about it and actually talking about it, I would make just completely unrelated videos to technology, things that were unrelated. And I found that one of the types of videos that I love the most, just as I guess you could call it a stress reliever, something that just took so little editing because they were short videos. I'm talking 1 to 2 to 3 minutes long. Just animate some kind of meme or I don't really know what you would call it, something like that. So I have an entire playlist full of those. Either my friend would send me a voice clip and I thought that was really funny, so I made it into a video or something like that. So one day I was walking, just as recently, I was walking down the street and something, and then the idea came to me because I knew one of my friends knew how to do a really, really good Marge Simpson impression. So I thought, hey, what if we just turn that into a video? And that's how the idea came. I just sat down, I wrote the entire script for this thing, and they read it off, and then I got the audio. He took like a million different takes, and then I had to cut each individual take to a correct one because that's the professional method of way of doing it. I just found that completely alienating because most of the time I just keep recording over and over again and cut everything while editing the audio originally. But anyway, so I took that and then I made the video, and the idea is just sort of flowed from there. You know, like why don't we have like some really? I just found images on the internet. Like there's one where you can find one shot with two different frames of Marge Simpson. Look at the computer, then look away at the computer, and everything just sort of flowed naturally, making the video. Like with most of these videos, it just you do it in one day, you get it done, and then it's just a fun video to put out. And that's the sort of stuff that I like doing from time to time, because if you spend your entire like YouTube career, I don't really know what you would call it, but your entire YouTube life, just making videos that are highly edited, high quality, that kind of stuff, you'll get drained out. It's just months and months to work on a video that will come out and will be good, but you can't have that short little burst video, and that's what these sort of are. So I got that one, the Marge Simpson one, and I got a million others just like it that are similar. So that kind of stuff comes out, whether it be Linux related or not.
Yeah, I'm gonna give people a bit of a look at how that actually sounds. Here we go.
Already system of choice.
But Marge,
The home is not as good.
Thing sounds like a virus. Are you sure it's safe to put out on our computer?
Yes, Homer, it's perfectly safe. I know this because I scanned it with Norton.
You know, yeah, I'll give you that. The Marge voice is actually pretty good.
It's okay, yeah. The Homer impression wasn't maximal, but he's good at the Marge impression. His link is in the description of the video if you want to check him, and the Homer guy.
Yeah,
they're separate people.
I'll put that in the description of this one as well. Maybe I'll just link directly to this video, actually. That was a good start. You are a very high energy person. That I can say that.
Yeah.
You just don't know what to say. You just
I don't know. I'm lost. I am high energy. People tell me that. Then all right, I'm high energy. Well, what am I gonna do now? I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, okay. What made you actually want to start making videos then?
That's a good question. So let's see. When was I? So 2009. I was 4 years old, right? What happened was, the big recession, 2008, that kind of stuff. Everything went crashing down. Bad economy, bad. And my parents lost both their jobs. Well, my dad lost his job. My mom quit her job because without my dad's job, we can't support a family of now 5 kids, which is a lot to support. So what happened was, we had to find, some place to live because we couldn't really live in Italy because job opportunities in Italy, which is the country where I come from, were basically non-existent. And Italy is technically still in recession, so we never really recovered from 2008. That's just a sign of how completely garbage our economy currently is. So what my dad did was he went on a job hunt, and he was searching for jobs. He's an airline pilot. He was former Air Force pilot. He's a veteran of the Gulf War, Bosnian War with Bosnia-Herzegovina, things revolving around Albania, that kind of stuff. And he found a few airline proposals, one in Ethiopia. He tried going to Cathay Pacific, and eventually he finds one here in the United Arab Emirates. And we settled down here through the kafala work system. So essentially, one person, like my dad, can get a job here and get a sponsorship, which means he's allowed to live in the country and be a citizen. And the rest of his family also gets to live in the country. So we get to live in the country, and I've been living here since. So what that basically sparked is when we got here, my dad basically had all his computers and stuff all around because he was always using his computers to study for the next exam on planes, that kind of stuff. So I would get on his laptop or something while he was at work doing simulators or flying or whatever. And I would go onto YouTube and I discovered a lot of stuff. At the time, it was very different than how it is now. Like one really big thing that was about to crash in a few years was animation, that kind of stuff. So you'd see people drawing stickman, doing those stickman fights, that kind of stuff. I love that. And I loved other things. Many things I shouldn't have seen, like the AVGN. Definitely shouldn't have seen that when I was 6 years old. But,
yeah, probably not. No,
happen.
I was a bit older when I was watching AVGN.
Exactly.
But yeah, definitely still a bit too young for that.
It's definitely not as good. Yeah. But anyway, it happened. So I saw this. And so that sort of laid a seed in my head. Hey, no, this is a thing people do. At the moment, people didn't really consider a career. We're talking 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
But as time went on, there were people who were beginning to turn it into a career. So I saw this transformation. This first generation of YouTubers were sort of making it into a proper thing they could do. So then jump forward to like 2015, October 2015, around that kind of time. Me and my friends decide we're going to film something funny. We're going to film we had a can of Mirinda, which is basically Arab like Fanta.
Right. Okay.
And we were like sliding it across the table, like this sort of thing, like whoop-dee. Wait, can't even see it. Yeah, this kind of thing. That thing kids do where they slide it to each other. We called it bartender, like a game. But anyway, sure. I was in charge of filming it, so I filmed it, and then we were like, hey, why don't we put that on YouTube? So I made a YouTube channel. It was called J, based off our initials, J-A for my first name, and then Y, which is the initial of another friend. And basically, I just kept putting videos on there. I would make videos on Minecraft, as every child in 2015 would. Videos on other things. I remember I first made Denshi videos under the name Denshi, under the idea that it was just basically a PowerPoint presentation, and it would talk about something that was just like anything. Like it would talk about video games or video game theories or whatever, like random stuff. All that's lost. I can't find any of it left. Although the channel is still up under a different name, Denshi Space or whatever. But anyway, so that's how it all began. Then I moved over. I realized slowly while making videos on J that my most successful videos were tutorials. So I'd make videos like a tutorial on how to make videos, how to use editing software, how to do this. I was like 11 years old, 12 years old, that kind of age. And I was like, hey, why don't I open a channel dedicated to tutorials? So I tried that, and that failed. So I deleted that. Then I tried a new channel dedicated entirely to making more high quality edited videos, a little, character animation, that kind of thing. That failed too. And then eventually I was 2019, April 2019, which was I was just finishing my first year at GCSE, which is like UK system, high school, whatever. And that was when I decided, why don't I make a channel and I make it entirely about this Denshi thing? Like I make it entirely about drawing, and then making drawings into videos. So I made my first video, which was a meta video called YouTube. Just meta video, it's the first video for me on YouTube. It's called YouTube, whatever.
I actually did go watch that one earlier today, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wrote like the first half of that video, then I got lazy and I just improvised the rest of the video. So that's how 90% of my videos are made these days. Just I sit down in front of the microphone, I read half of the script and I'm like, oh yeah, the rest of this is crap. I'm just gonna make up the rest, and I make it up. So that began the flow of that. Just basically, I don't really draw anymore in videos. I don't do the drawings anymore. But all the editing skills I learned from mounting everything together and doing the keyframes and whatever, that helped me massively with doing what I do now, which is make more highly edited videos with proper transitions and proper stuff. So that slowly built itself into something that I could tangibly feel was a proper skill. So that's how we are at now. I just kept making videos. At some point in 2019, late 2019, I changed the name of the channel from the Denshi Draws to Denshi Video because I just wanted it to be just videos, not limited to drawing. And then I just kept going, and that's how it is now. I just kept making videos about Linux.
So for anyone who maybe have been out of the loop at the time, explain what actually happened with animation, because I do remember this actually going down, but there
Oh,
might
yeah.
be people who are completely lost
Oh
on
yeah,
it.
there's a lot to say about that. So if anybody remembers this, I don't know your audience demographic, how old they are.
I
But
think they're
back in
a bit older than me, in like 20,
oh,
mid
okay, so they
20s or so.
definitely remember this.
Yeah, yeah.
Either they remember this or they were too old to remember this. But what happens normally is this. Well, what happened really is that in 2009, that kind of time, one big boom of animation that happened in the few years prior, since 2004, it's sort of been building, was this program called, Adobe Macromedia Flash, Adobe Flash. It was a software made by Adobe. Well, it was originally made by Macromedia, then Adobe bought it. An animation software. You could even script stuff in it. You could do a lot of cool things with it, and you could, make scripts and then make video games in it as well. And many websites like YouTube used Flash Player to play videos. So it meant that if you made videos in Flash, it was generally more advantageous on YouTube. And websites like Newgrounds, which was also a video hosting site, you pretty much exclusively could upload Flash projects and stuff, and they would show up. And that had various advantages. So we all know Flash, it's a proprietary system. It's pretty much useless these days. It's not really used by anyone. It's only really useful as an animation tool for some people because the basic framework of the software makes it so it's good to animate in it, not actually good to export that and play it in the Flash player. So people would use the Flash software to make videos and upload them to YouTube. And because it was so popular with kids, and I guess I don't really know where they were getting it from, probably piracy, let's be honest, but I don't know where the kids were getting it from, but they were getting Adobe Macromedia Flash or whatever, and they were animating stuff. There was this massive boom of kids animating stuff and adults animating stuff, stick fights, that kind of thing. There were loads of people making these, and it just exploded. Then what happened around 2011, 2012, it just slumped. People weren't really interested in animation videos. So if you were making animation videos during that period, you probably didn't see much success on YouTube. And then we all know what happened. 2014, 2015, there was the boom of a new genre of animation on YouTube, which was the story time animation, where people were making videos talking about personal experiences. We all know the guys, Odd Ones Out, Jaden Animations, these kind of people. They boomed. They're super popular because they're popular with kids, just like the original animations of the stick fights, that kind of stuff was also popular with kids. So that saw a massive boom. Now that's also waning. Animation on YouTube is getting bigger thanks to YouTube itself becoming bigger. There's entire shows that are animated on YouTube for free and that kind of stuff. And there's some that have been greenlit for TV series. So the success is still there. But it did fail 2012, 2011, that kind of time. And then it came back with story time. So that's how that went.
There's actually a couple of projects that are attempting to basically keep Flash alive. I know I'm looking at Lightspark. That's one of those. That's an open source implementation of Flash Player. And I know there's a couple of others as well, but I don't think there's anything that's actually a full open source decent player at this point. At least I don't know of one.
I don't know of any either. I'm pretty sure most of them that are open source, they implement some kind of proprietary code somewhere in it. But I do admire those, because one of the most important things when it comes to the internet is preservation of media. Because if I have a server posting something, then I unplug it, boom, that's gone from the internet, unless people have downloaded it. The general consensus, what I don't like about people talking about the internet, they often say that when you put something up on the internet, it never goes away. What they mean by that is when you put something up on social media, it never goes away. Because if you put something up that's self-hosted, it will most likely go away. It's going to go, unless people federate it or spread it across, which is, I think, a generally better system. So yeah, I do admire anybody who works on these projects and tries to back up all these whole Flash projects, even if it's just like some 11-year-old's random Flash animation from 2008 or something. Like, it's still worth.
You gotta make sure that all of those awful Flash games from Armor Games are preserved for the rest of history.
Yeah.
I want to play Boxhead in 10 years from now. I want to play all of the Soft and Cool Maths games.
Most certainly, yeah. Excellent. I know that Newgrounds has a Flash player. They built it specifically so you can use it on their website just as a browser plugin. Not 100% sure of how they fix all the vulnerabilities in Flash with that. I'm assuming they fix them somehow. Then they just use that
they just
as
left them
just
there.
a plugin or something like that.
They could just still be in there, just whatever.
Yeah, they just don't say it.
Let's see. I thought I had something that I was going to say, and then I just completely lost it. Oh, you know what? Screw that. We're just going to go somewhere else. Did you hear about the thing that happened with the University of Minnesota with the commits they're making to the Linux kernel?
I did. I did hear about that, yeah.
So for anyone who's completely out of the loop, the University of Minnesota, they had a there was a professor and a couple of students doing, I guess it's a PhD project. I'm not exactly sure what the project actually was, but they were trying to write a research paper, and they were making intentionally faulty commits to the Linux kernel. Then after that, submitting patches to those faulty commits, basically to try and see what the feasibility of getting, I guess, malicious code into the Linux kernel actually was. And as you could probably tell from that, some of the Linux maintainers were not exactly happy about that.
Yeah. Now, I don't really know how etiquette works with universities and this type of penetration testing, or as you would call it, I don't know, like getting into the source code. But I would assume that the general etiquette is you're sort of like you're meant to ask the Linux kernel project before you go and try and do something like that, or at least you can't just go in there and start submitting malicious code. And obviously they're going to get approved. They're university. If I say the university is committing code to the Linux project and I'm the maintainer, I'm a guy who could approve commits, I'm going to look at that and say, yeah, this university is trustworthy. They're going to get the code. So what were these guys thinking when they were doing it? I'm pretty sure like you're a trusted institution and you're going to do this sort of thing. Unless they were specifically testing that if a trusted institution could get it in. Unless they were specifically testing that. Because clearly, look, what they're trying to figure out is if any rando can go up there and post malicious code and somehow get it approved and somehow get it in the kernel release and then, get this malicious code in people's computers. I'm assuming that's their general scope. I haven't
generally the idea.
Yeah.
And the way they went about it, because they were submitting patches then right after submitting the patch to their broken patch, they were trying to make sure it doesn't actually make its way into the actual stable branch. Some of the commits actually did, though, and that's the problem. So yeah, that's the biggest issue that sort of happened there. It would be one thing if they just stayed in the email exchanges. It would be annoying, and you shouldn't be doing it. But the fact that some of this code actually did make it into the actual releases is a much bigger problem.
Yeah. What if somebody downloaded that and compiled it? It'd be ridiculous. But so when it comes to this sort of thing, I think the most important, I think when we look at all this and get rid of all the fog and look at the clear issue here, it's that an institution like the University of Minnesota is sort of just blindly trusted to commit code to the kernel and not have it be malicious. So that's really the issue here. I mean, you could talk all you want about how they ran their study and how they should have definitely warned them before doing this, but you're talking about the University of Minnesota. It's inherently flawed to test for something like this when you're literally an institution and you have your email address listed on a university email, whatever it is, university, I think it's um.edu or something like that.
UNM or something, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, something like that, umn.edu.
Yeah.
Edu, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
if you have .edu, you sort of assume that there's going to be well, it'd be like seeing, I don't know, I don't have a good example. Let's say you have like someone committing code with a Google email, for example. You would assume that person is working at Google, is trying to do something to actually submit code to an actual project.
Yeah. So that's the primary issue here. I think is that, obviously, it makes perfect sense to trust a university institution, but you shouldn't, at least when you're doing some kind of penetration like testing, at least go through the effort of setting up a different email server that seems believable if you want to truly make it a believable experience. But I don't know. I don't know what their process was. I don't know what their thinking was. They might have just made a completely honest mistake. I don't really know. But now they've banned the whole university off the Linux kernel anyway, so what are they going to do now?
The big problem they also had with it was some of these people who were involved had also committed to the Linux kernel in the past as well.
Oh.
So they're not really sure when the tests actually started either. So that's the biggest issue. So there was about, I think, 260 commits they had to go through and check if what was actually intended to be malicious and what was actually just regular commits to the kernel. So there is probably weeks and weeks of time that's going to be wasted by the maintainers just checking over this code.
If only they would have warned them that they were going to do this, then told them exactly what they were doing, this wouldn't really be a problem, I guess. So that would have been a proper penetration testing, because you would have actually seen if people, because there would be someone who would be aware and would be able to take it out before it actually got put into the stable branch. But this hasn't clearly happened here. So I guess that's incompetence on their part, or maybe their process was just flawed inherently or something like that. Yeah. So
I know that Linus wasn't involved in the email list going back and forth about this, but he did actually release a statement afterwards. Let's see if I can find it.
oh really? Let's see that.
University of Minnesota, Linux, Linus Torvalds. I should have saved the link from earlier today. Here we go. From Tom's Hardware, Linus Torvalds responds to the thing. How do I send a link in Jitsi? There we go. There's the chat.
Now let's take a look at this. All right. Let's see. Tom's Hardware says. So, addressing the University of Minnesota, and Torvalds apparently did an interview with iWire and said that, I don't really know what to say, he said. I think the thread is likely the most relevant information. I don't think it has been a huge deal technically, but people are pissed off, and it's obviously a breach of trust. Yeah, that sort of sums it up really well.
Yeah. And that's a fairly calm take from Torvalds, to be honest.
Yeah, I would expect far worse. But then again, he's interviewing with a company. He's not going to start. This isn't an email listing. This is a company. This is a news agency or whatever iTech maybe.
Yeah, I think the person who got the most annoyed with this was Greg Hartman. He was the main guy who basically called these people out, because this person he'd noticed this person had been frequently submitting these patches that were just broken, and he was basically just absolutely done with it. And I guess he'd already heard about this paper being made and just sort of putting two and two together.
Oh, yeah. So wait, I'm assuming these broken patches were during the period in which they were doing the testing and not in the past, because you said some of the people working on this project had been developing with the Linux kernel in the past. So are these broken patches from the past or from now? There's
been 160 patches in the actual the paper. So
okay,
it's a while at least. I think they've been doing it for about a year now, if I recall correctly. But there are patches that go all the way back to 2018, and they're not really sure when it exactly started. The other big problem they had with the paper is, for some reason, even though the source code they're working on is completely open source, in the paper where they showed figures, they obfuscated the code. And
beautiful.
Don't understand why.
So they they don't even know which ones are which.
Yeah, no.
Oh boy, they're gonna have to manually go through and figure out. Oh, I don't envy that job.
No. It's just a mess of a situation. Honestly, I would half expect the university, they've already released a statement about this, but I wouldn't be surprised if they, make a large donation to the Linux kernel.
Possibly to try to get them back to unbanning them from developing with the Linux kernel. Yeah, well, I mean, to me, things like the development of Linux, we all know it's been heavily sponsored by foundations like the Linux Foundation and all these sort of people. And whether that's good or bad, it's up to personal opinion. But the truth is, these companies develop a lot, but it is individuals who truly get it fully functioning. Without individuals working on it and committing changes to the code, it wouldn't be where it is now.
Yeah.
And sure, foundations like the Linux Foundation have done massive contributions, but they use Macs. They're a company that clearly, yes, has done a lot of good for the Linux kernel. They've done loads of standardizing. A lot of these companies have standardized a lot of things, but we must begin to question whether it's truly correct to trust institutions just as much as we trust individual people, because an institution is a wide array of people. That's a lot of people. So if any person from the University of Minnesota could commit code and have it at a higher priority than an individual, then that's something I think the kernel developers need to really start thinking about.
Yeah, one of the people who is actually maintaining this these patches, I guess, mentioned that the likely thing that just allowed these patches to slip through was the fact that it was a university email, and
exactly
there have been effectively what they were doing to actually make these patches was making a static code analyzer, and this is a fairly normal thing for a university to do, so this person just thought, it's just another university reinventing the wheel of a static code analyzer. Let's just accept the code through. It should have been something that didn't get allowed through. They should have actually been more scrutiny for it.
Through it correctly, yeah. But it was a university. That's exactly what I'm talking about. But they put more trust into an institution than they would do in a random individual giving them the exact same code.
But up until this point, the way they've sort of approached patches, which I don't know why they're approaching it like this, is that anyone submitting code to the kernel should be looked at as doing it, I guess, in good faith. Whereas the way they're going to start having to go forward now is assume that everyone submitting code is a bad actor, and then judge all of the code at like as if they are trying to be malicious, which is going to waste more time. But I think that
it might be more secure in future.
Ultimately, that's the one good thing that did come out of this.
Yeah. Well, it all depends on who's calling the commits, who's saying, that gets through, that doesn't get through.
If it's someone who's actually like I don't think they're going to be as strict on, people who've been committing for 10 years, for example.
Exactly, yeah. Well, that makes sense, yeah.
If it's someone who's a known kernel developer, then obviously that's different. But for, say, random people who, like, I'm going to make my first commit to the kernel, that has to be really scrutinized to make sure that they're not doing something like this. Or
malicious things. Yeah, but I think, like, when it comes to, there's also the question of code quality. There's a question of whether something could be done more efficiently or in a better way or a more compatible way. And like, obviously that will also be heavily scrutinized. Well, with the Linux kernel, it's more than scrutinized, it's accepted and improved a lot over time, as we've seen performance improve a lot, especially with newer hardware and newer hardware releases. Because as soon as something new comes out, the Linux kernel is normally not far behind into getting it supported. But the question is, now, basically, with this, you've given far more power, because of this attitude of taking a look at every single commit with sort of malicious intent. You're given maximal power to those who say whether it gets merged or not, who say whether this gets through or not. So whoever's calling those shots, those are the people who are far more in power now. And I guess that's something to think about.
I don't know if there's any way... there's nothing really to be done about that, but it is something to think about for sure. You didn't bring up Macs before. Did you see? Did you see how Apple has now decided that they have been the creator of these Bluetooth tag things you can attach to things? Now everyone's suddenly excited about them. They've made these things called AirTags. They're basically just like little Bluetooth things you can attach to your like phone or something, and then you can ping it to work out where your phone's located.
Oh, so it's basically just a pager, but it works via Bluetooth? Like it's
a
why can't you just use the phone's Bluetooth connection?
No, I mean, like, it's a little, like, basically it's a little, it's basically a GPS tracker you can attach to, like, your keys or anything like that, and then if you lose them, you can basically ping them and, like, work out where that thing's actually located. They're called AirTags.
So I'm assuming, that's a clever idea. It's just...
They didn't create it.
It's for ages. Yeah, they didn't create that. That's pretty obvious. But a question about that is, so that connects via Bluetooth, I'm assuming. So if you're...
I think it's, like, actually Wi-Fi or something.
Wi-Fi, oh, okay.
Some fancy Wi-Fi technology. I'm not sure exactly how it works. But...
Yeah.
I saw the people, like, freaking out about this, that, like, this is such a cool thing. Like, I can't believe that Apple's made this. Like, you've been able to buy these things, like, 6 or 7 years. Apple is very good at, making things popular, if nothing else.
They're excellent at marketing. They're a marketing mogul. It's sort of like, there's comparisons that can be drawn to every industry. Every industry has that one company which knows exactly how to get to people and how to show them something fancy. Because there are a few things that are objectively good about Apple, then it's just up to marketing the rest. Like, I'd say 80% of it is marketing, and then 20% of it is actually good products. Like, if you look at Apple's industrial design with every single product they release, it's excellent. It's not very cost efficient. It's not very good. And it's not even good for thermals, as we've seen with the terrible MacBook thermals in the last few years. But they do know how to make something look good. Like the new iMacs, for example, all the colorful ones, those ones, they look excellent. They're awful for performance. They're awful from literally other perspective, but they look very nice. And people like things that look nice. And that's part of the marketing. So the industrial design is objectively good. It takes a lot of skill to get things looking that good and get that form factor working and all the hardware in there. That's difficult, but it's not good. It's like working very, very hard on something that people enjoy, but it's completely useless. It's like making a very, 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 very beautiful looking Toshiba PowerBook, or not Toshiba Apple PowerBook. Or, I don't know. I lost my trail of thought there, but a very good looking computer from 5 years ago. That's basically what they're doing. So that's what Apple is. So with this new key thing, with this car key tracker that you can just stick on the stuff, I'm assuming it has like an adhesive, some kind of thing that you can like
you can
slap it
you
on
can buy a you can buy a pouch for it. The cheapest pouch is $12. The most expensive one, $450.
What is it made out of? Pure diamond, I'm assuming.
Leather. I know, it's
Leather, oh, I
crazy material here. You never heard of it.
Yeah, I've never seen leather in my whole life. That's amazing. $400 for a little. So I'm assuming these pouches just like stick on. Like, how would you get it on an actual car key?
You like slide the thing into it, and then like there's a keychain thing you just clip onto it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So, but how do you get it to the car key? Like, do you stick it on? Is there like a little taper?
Oh, you could like basically you'd like clip it onto like your key ring sort of thing.
Oh, okay. So it's got a little clip. I see. So that's interesting.
And that's why you need
that's
why you need the pouch, because the actual like puck thingy, the tag doesn't actually have a doesn't have a clip on it, so you have to buy some sort of pouch.
It's just an object.
It's a little metal.
This object.
It's basically a little metal puck that you can get like an emoji engraved. That's the one thing they do. You when you buy it, you can get an emoji engraved on it.
That's hilarious. I can't wait to see those all around the city. I don't live in the city. I live in the desert. If you walk in that direction, you'll find the actual desert. But I can't wait to see those around different places. That's going to be ridiculous. People, little apple pucks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Somebody's definitely going to use those for hockey. I'm calling it now. Somebody's going to play hockey with that. Some guy on YouTube or whatever is going to try to do that.
Yeah, I could see that. Right now they're up for pre-order, so we've got to wait a bit for that. But soon.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy in packs of 4 as well. They are, I think it's $100 for a pack of 4.
Oh, that's actually relatively good, but it's just a pager, so So Apple made pagers that work on Wi-Fi that have already existed for tons of time, like those little child trackers they put on the children sometimes. That's got a little phone or whatever. So that sort of thing. Put a little collar on your child with the Apple Puck. There you go.
That'll work.
Problem solved. Child never lost again. Success. Apple Puck solution. But yeah. Apple's great at marketing, so they're gonna sell millions of these pucks. They're gonna sell like hotcakes, which they sort of look like. So yeah.
Actually, I didn't honestly when I heard about the like colorful iMacs, I didn't actually believe it. It just didn't seem like an Apple thing to do. But no, yeah,
I wouldn't expect them to be colorful. I was expecting everybody knew they were gonna make them thin, like crazy thin, because
it's
they
basically
can do that
just
thanks
like
to M1.
Basically, just a giant iPad on a stick.
Yeah, because that's what they are. They have a chip from the iPad that's been modified slightly to run Mac OS.
Yeah, they stuck an M1 in it, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, they stuck an M1 in it, which is good for thermals, so they can not really worry about having tons of fans everywhere to take up bulk. So everybody knew. Even there was a great Linus Tech Tips video where they talked about the newest iMac, which wasn't the current one, but when it came out, there was a new iMac that was announced, and Linus specifically, with the script in this, he predicted that the new Mac's gonna just basically be an iPad on a stand, that it's gonna be flat, and they even showed their own little render or thing they tried to make themselves, a mock-up of it, and that looks exactly like the new Macs, but nobody could have predicted the colors. But I guess that's Apple's way of showing they're changing or regrading back to their old self, back when they had the colorful logo.
At least it still has a headphone jack on it. It's in a weird spot.
At least that's a positive. And the Ethernet that passes through the cable.
I'm looking. Okay, wait. It's on. Have you looked at the new iMac? Because do you know where the headphone jack is?
I haven't seen it. No, hold up. I've seen the ports on it. I've seen they got there's different configuration. You can get like a USB, Thunderbolt, all of course 3.1. So it's got the little round port, USB-C port. Hold up, I'm gonna search this up.
Unless I'm seeing this wrong, the headphone jack.
The headphone jack on the side.
It's on the left side. So if you wanted to use headphones, they'll come all the way off your desk.
It is.
What?
It genuinely is. Yeah.
Why not put under it?
I don't know. What does they put under it? That's a clever solution for a laptop, because nobody wants to then put their headphones in the back, but laptops do have ports on the back. Some do. So I don't know. I don't think it's gonna make big enough. It's not really gonna make a big impact, because anybody who really cares about audio will buy their own little special Wi-Fi. They're not gonna worry about
thingy for it.
They're not building They're definitely not using the built-in headphone jack. But I don't know. I guess it'll make it easier to break your headphone or rip the back. I don't know how much this thing weighs.
Oh no, you won't have cables, because you're gonna be using your AirPods.
Oh yeah, of course. But no, I guess it'll make it easier for you to pull your headphones and then my Mac like that. I don't know if that's gonna happen. Depends on how much it weighs and how much it stays still. That's something I always got worried about when I saw Macs, iMacs, because what if that little stand, what if it falls over? It doesn't look very stable. When you actually, C1, it stands up.
I can't speak
It's
about the
okay.
new ones. The older ones are pretty hefty.
The older ones are absolute chunk. They're big. They tried making them thin, but they still had that big round thing.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like that. I've not really used a new one. My dad has an old one. He's 2012 model
Yeah,
iMac.
yeah,
and
okay, yeah.
but the newer ones, like regardless of which one you're getting, they always have that round back, and that round back, it's just reminiscent of CRTs, and I like that. So
Well, yeah, that round
Yeah.
back is how you have fans in it.
exactly, they got little fans at the
But-
top, which sound horrible, but they are fans.
I do want to know, so, because it is basically a giant iMac. Sorry, a giant iPad.
Yeah, why didn't it put a touchscreen on it?
That's a good point. Probably because
Yeah,
it would
I
make
was
the screen.
expecting it.
You would have like fingerprints all over your screen. And that would
Yeah,
be bad for the
but
aesthetics.
Microsoft did it.
Yeah, but that's not Apple's thing.
Yeah, that's
No,
true.
but because this is basically a giant iPad, if somehow they manage to make this thing thermal throttle, I will be surprised because it's just the exact same chip with bigger heat dissipation.
Well, remember the Mac Mini had the new Mac Mini had fans, and it used the M1 chip. And if this one, so I don't know about the MacBook Air if it ever thermal throttled with M1, but I know for a fact that the MacBook, the iMac, not the iMac, the Mac Pro, not Mac Pro. What am I saying? The mini one, the small one.
Yep.
The little one with the M1 chip, the one that they gave out as dev kits. Those ones had no issues with thermals, at least for the most part.
Okay.
So they should have put fans in this one, I think. But if they're able to dissipate it well, they're able to dissipate it well. But anyway, we're literally talking about Apple on what's meant to be a Linux show.
That's fine.
I don't even. Yeah.
It's fine. Linus wanted an iMac, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. The Linux Foundation uses Mac, so it's also fine.
Honestly, like, if you just want to be like real lazy with the content, just every year they release a report, just be like, the Linux Foundation uses Macs, and you just get like thousands of clicks because I guess, I don't know, people just want to keep hearing about the exact same thing every time.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's sort of hard to get over that hypocrisy.
Yeah.
You make it's like the BSD developers. Where does BSD code primarily go to? Where is it mainly used by people? Mac OS. And by extension, iOS. Because what do you think iOS is based on? Mac OS. Which makes this whole M1 transition far less difficult looking now that you realize that it's literally just porting what you've already ported over to a chip that you already have. And then, yeah, the illusion is sort of gone. But ARM is something that I am super concerned about when it comes to computing, not commuting. I don't know what I said there. Commuting. I'm sure there's ARM chips on like modern buses to track mileage or something.
Well, okay, most modern cars have some sort of like, I don't know, either Android Auto or whatever Apple's thing is.
Oh, you completely cut out.
Did I?
Yeah, no, you're back now, but it cut out for a second.
Okay.
On Jitsi.
Yeah, modern cars have like some sort of Android Auto or Apple's car thing or whatever.
Yeah, that's running off an ARM chip.
Honestly, I don't know how that manages to get through like regulations, allowing you to have basically a giant tablet in the front seat of your car.
Yeah, I was always worried about that when it comes to security. I mean, you're not allowed to put videos on it or that kind of stuff because that has obvious safety issues. Can't even have video call. But I saw that like some video call programs that are exclusively for video calling are available on Android Auto and stuff. I haven't tested it out, but if that happens, that's a major danger. But I don't know. I don't, these things, these Android Auto, these smartwatches, all these things that just trying to get a screen crammed into everything possible. I hate them. I really don't like them. I try to avoid them like the plague. It's better if a car has a traditional radio, traditional everything, because it's far easier to maintain, far easier to sell the car later. It's just better.
Well, yeah, the problem with Android Auto is the same problem that selling a phone has, is that it's going to stop getting updates very quickly.
Yeah, well, the thing with Android Auto, the idea behind it is, you have your smartphone, and with a smartphone, you can just connect it up, and the smartphone manages the updates in the software and the firmware. But who knows if they change the spec, and then suddenly a ton of cars become uncompatible, which I'm sure has happened before. So
the problem, the big problem with things like that is the automotive industry moves notoriously slow. Like, you'll have a car come out, it'll have a brake issue, and then it'll take like 6 months to do a recall.
Exactly. Yeah, it is. It's very very slow. So these kind of fixes, if they mess up once with Android Auto, some vulnerability in it or whatever, they can't fix that.
And then as cars sort of get more computer controlled with, you know, the direction that like Tesla and stuff's going.
Exactly. It's going to become even more. Well, the difference with Tesla is at least they're able to do
They're a
over
tech
the air
company
updates.
first. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that has massive implications. Being able to over the air update cars, and not to mention paying for the over the air update sometimes, but having over the air updates, like that's, if you find a vulnerability, if I find a way to get into a Tesla and just do whatever, complete control, because it can self-drive. If I'm able to find a vulnerability in the self-driving Teslas, that's homicide. That's literally a way to kill people, because a car can kill the people inside it. It can kill anyone outside. So I don't doubt the technology. I don't doubt the ability to cars to drive themselves. I don't doubt the ability of cars to be electric. I doubt strapping a computer on a car, connecting it to the internet, and passing updates through it. You better have the best security engineer, best computer engineers in the world. You better have the best guys, best security in the world, or you're completely screwed.
Yeah, I think the only way that I would like trust, no, I still don't like it. The only way I would potentially trust a fully computer controlled car is if it doesn't do over-the-air updates. The only way to update it is to plug an Ethernet cable into it.
Exactly. Or plug in a USB with the flash, the little flash file, and then flash it to it or something like that.
Even so,
like you would do with a router.
Yeah. Even so, you still have the issue where I don't exactly want my brakes to be controlled by a computer.
Yeah.
Can I just like...
You want it to be a thing you can press, yeah.
I like my manual brakes. They're nice. They work.
Yeah. The solution is that when it comes to a lot of these cars, a lot of people are moving within the automotive industry, as you said, it moves very slowly, but they are generally shifting over to this idea of, what's the word again? It's not, drive-by-wire, but it's actually called originally fly-by-wire, because all this began with Air Force aircraft. And the idea is, the problem with many Air Force aircraft is, if you've ever looked at how one is built, if you have any idea of aerodynamics and the basic concepts of how you're meant to build a plane, wrong. These are built wrong. They're inherently aerodynamically unstable, at least the more modern ones. So if you look at aircraft from the 1940s, before they had these computers, completely different shape, completely different everything. The reason they're designed differently these days is because it has various different advantages when it comes to like mobility. And to fix the problems of, hey, if I pull up on this manually, it's literally going to overcompensate and then flip me over and I'm going to die. To fix that, every single control in modern fighter jets and modern jets, just for your information, the recent last 10 years, this has been shifting to all modern aircraft, is fly-by-wire. So you pull up, you're not pulling up. The computer thinks you're pulling up, and the computer knows how to make you pull up. And the computer understands the nuances and aerodynamic effects, so it can compensate properly as if you were just controlling it manually and the plane wasn't inherently flawed. So that same thing is happening with cars, where soon you're going to be turning a steering wheel. You're not turning a steering wheel, you're turning a resistor or something that actually turns then the wheel. The computer turns the wheels, and it's able to compensate and then fix the issues. So that currently most cars don't fully have this. Most cars have it where you drive, it's all physically manual, you have a physical handbrake, physical everything. Then the computer can intervene, but it's not forced, and you can kill switch it. And we've seen this aircraft issue arise when aircraft, obviously you'll always have a manual control on an aircraft. It's always built in. But we've seen this problem rise when the computer has any power at all. This problem has killed people. Like if you look at the 737 MAX, the MAX-8 model, MAX-9, all these models have the problem that, once again, like with fighter jets, they have inherent instability or an inherent issue. Because if you've ever looked at a 737 jet, you've noticed that the plane's engines almost touch the ground. If you look at the relatively recent ones, they actually have to smush them at the end. It's like a circle shape, and then it's sort of like that on purpose, so it doesn't scrape on the floor. With the MAX, these new aircraft engines they have are much bigger. These new General Electric ones, and they cannot put them without completely changing the landing gear and making the plane higher. So what they did was they moved them forwards and up. So that causes an issue because now your center of mass is forwards. That causes aerodynamic instability, and the jets themselves are forwards. Your center of thrust is forwards. Now the plane's going to go like this, like that. It's going to start going up. That's no good. So what did they build in? Well, this was up to the computer engineers to fix. And they made this system called MCAS, which was, once again, an integrated system into the actual, Macs. I don't really know, because they've been able to flash updates to this. So I doubt it being fully integrated. Like, they got some system to flash updates to this. So it's more like a router, really.
Right.
But what they did was this was flawed. It had some issues in the programming. I don't really know if they haven't self-published the full report on it, so nobody really knows. But the point was, it was going off when it wasn't meant to. So what would happen is there were two instances, one in Ethiopia, one in Indonesia, where their aircraft was taking off, and then the MCAS system overcompensated and didn't really fully understand the angle of attack that aircraft was going at, and then went up and killed. It was tragedy. It killed over 400 people, around 400 people, that kind of amount of people. And that's the problem with these cars, with these planes, with everything, is that you're trusting a computer to do things that used to be entirely human. And humans are flawed. Don't get me wrong. Humans make lots of mistakes, and human mistake is inevitable. But a computer can be designed to have issues. It can be designed, and it's left that way forever. If a human messes up, normally they can go through and they can say, all right, there's going to be this new training added, and we're going to train everybody correctly. With a computer, it's hard to track down every car and every plane. As you said, the automotive industry is slow. If there was an update with the Teslas, or if there was some kind of system, unfixable patch with the Teslas that let me have complete, or anyone have complete access to the Teslas and their control, just drive them anywhere, then you would have to recall all of them, and that would take years to fix. They would have to flash every single one individually. If it's an unfixable patch, it's hardware level, or just got to do with the actual firmware, whatever. I'm assuming they're running some kind of Linux or BSD on the Teslas or something like that. So yeah, that's my opinions on these sort of things. That's what I think. I think I could never. I feel like as we advance forward, you have to figure out a way to either recall things faster or just try to make the best code possible, because it's these sort of flaws and the lack of testing that leads to genuine death and hundreds of deaths because of a flawed computer system. So yeah,
It is a modified Ubuntu distribution on the Tesla.
Oh, okay, I see.
On that note, how did you actually get into Linux?
That's a really good question. So let's see. I was 11. It was morning. There was my grandfather's old computer. So I was given the task. I don't remember if anybody told me this, but I wanted to do this. I wanted to take that computer and fix it up and use it for something. So I went online and first of all, I was just gonna reinstall Windows XP on it because that's what it already ran. So I wanted to reinstall Windows XP. So I reinstalled Windows XP. I flash it onto a little CD. And then boom, starting up Windows XP. Oh, Ethernet drivers don't work. So I scour the whole house for a CD with the Ethernet drivers, no luck. So what do I do next? Well, there's this operating system alternative called Linux. Ooh, what's this? So I go to a different house or, a different computer. I download the Ubuntu 16.04 ISO, and then I flash that onto a little flash, burn it onto a DVD. I bring that over, I put it in the computer, I boot it up, and there it was, Ubuntu for the first time. So what captivated me about Linux? The terminal. I know a lot of people begin with Linux, they're captivated by different things, like, oh, how themable it is, or I can customize everything, or whatever. For me, the main thing was, I can type a command here, and then it installs something, I can type it, and then I download. Like, this thing shocked me to the core. I understood the concept of a terminal interface, whether it be from playing too much Minecraft or running Minecraft servers on Windows, but I did not fully comprehend the concept that, hey, from the terminal, I can do everything. I have complete power of the system. So that's where my fascination began. I just downloaded every distro I knew, Elementary OS, everything. Tried Lubuntu, I tried LXDE distributions, a lot of stuff like that. I remember I'd been trying, what's it called? Buddha Linux? Baldi Linux, that thing. So I tried loads of distributions. I eventually settled on Ubuntu as the final distribution. But what I primarily run on my machine is Arch Linux. Although I used to run Manjaro, and Artix is okay as well. So that's how I got into Linux. It was just because I wanted to bring up a computer back, and then the terminal and all that kind of stuff captivated me. So that's how it was.
Okay, that's a fairly common story, to be honest. Like, I've had people give me like some really ancient stories, like, oh, I discovered this CD that had Ubuntu on it or whatever. No, it's just like I wanted to bring a computer back to life. That's
No, fascinatingly though, I did do something like that. The Ubuntu CD, I made it, well, DVD. I made it myself, but I did find it just a year ago, around a year ago. I came back to that same place with that computer that I had first installed Ubuntu on, and I found among the listed CDs and stuff, I found one for Mandrake. Oh, look at that. And my grandfather had been testing out Mandrake when he was in the 1990s or early 2000s. So that's a nice little coincidence. I'm not the first person to tinker with Linux in the whole family. So that's a great thing to know. So that's my only little note on that.
Oh, that's cool. I've only been using Linux for like 2 or so years. Everyone I speak to has been using it way longer than I have.
I've not been using it since I was 11. I used it on that computer. I had the basic ideas and concepts of Linux in my head, but I went back to my own
because you wanted to play video games.
I eventually got it. I didn't really play lots of video games on Windows. I've never been a huge gaming guy. I've always just been a guy who loves making videos, and video editing software on Linux was just no good. And the hardware I had couldn't run Resolve on Linux. Now I can, so I edit all my videos in Resolve.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I would just use Windows, but eventually the reason I got really big into Linux was my channel, really. So I began making videos called Just Use. So I make Just Use Krita, Just Use GIMP. I made videos on the software that I had been using for so long, GIMP, Krita, Audacity, that kind of stuff. And I loved it, so I wanted to make videos about them just as a pointer for people to say, hey, you're not meant to pay for Adobe software, use this instead. So as I did more of those, I slowly discovered, hey, like all this software I've been using is open source. What does that mean? All the software, all these things, they're all compatible with Linux as well. Like, and then slowly, I sort of put the pieces together in my head. It's like, oh, I don't even need Windows anymore. So I switched over to Pop! OS. Then I tried Ubuntu. Then I tried Manjaro. And I love Manjaro. It's not that good, really, now looking back at it. A lot of people have issues with it. Then I slowly learned more and more. It took me a while, but then I finally was able to install and begin using Arch Linux, and I've never really looked back. I mean, I have fired up Windows a few times to do a couple of things, but once again, I'm not someone who loves gaming, and the little gaming that I do, it's normally emulation or stuff that runs perfectly well on Linux. So.
Yeah, Minecraft's going to run perfectly fine on Linux. You're good there.
Yeah. And also another big inspiration was servers. I love servers. I love self-hosting. So Linux, just learning Linux at home on the desktop taught me more about servers than I could have ever learned doing anything else. Like, I feel like if I would have just began using Linux as a server operating system, I would have been so bored to death because I had just no motivation. But seeing everything on my desktop, being able to directly control it, and then learning that same system for a server, that taught me a lot. So yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, I sort of feel the exact same way. Like, I know people who sort of got interested in Linux from like system administration. I'm like, you're a weird unit. I don't know how you managed to do that. That sounds incredibly boring.
Sounds painful.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
To begin as a sysadmin, then
it's not like doing professional sysadmin stuff. It's like I wanted to set up like a Minecraft server and just like start from there. It's like that I couldn't do it. Like I like doing stuff on the Linux desktop. Yes, I do a lot of stuff in the terminal. I've run a lot of terminal applications, but like having the option to do something graphically when I want to do that is much nicer.
That is true. Yeah, so, but the thing is, for me, it's really about, because I've always loved self-hostings. Like I've told you before I even tried Linux, I'd been into stuff like set up a Minecraft server, but it was always on Windows. And they had to do stuff like, oh, make this script to launch it with the proper options of Java. And then on the Minecraft download page, they have all the instructions and all that kind of stuff. And my brain was slowly piecing together, on Windows, there's scripting functionalities. I wonder how it is on Linux. And on Linux, it's like a million times better. It's been developed to the edge, and you can do practically anything thanks to the Unix utilities and whatever. And so it just sort of unleashes potential that has already been there for me to do crazy stuff with servers. And now there are entire things that you can run in only with scripts. Like there's a great script by Luke Smith called LB. Luke's blog or Less Bloat or whatever you want to call it. And it's an excellent bash script that sets up your own static HTML blog. And I set that up on my website. Works perfectly fine. That's entirely been in scripts. And that's only possible on Linux. You can't do that on Windows. Or if you can, you have to download some software that imitates Unix utilities. So that's really what inspired me to get into sysadmining, because it was I had already done it before. I've been on Windows, and then learning all this stuff on Linux, using it graphically on my desktop and being able to see what I'm doing. And then that sort of translated its way to, just using a terminal again. on in a server, like a Debian server or something like that.
So are you running? What are you running on your Arch system? Are you running a desktop environment, window manager? What are you doing?
I'm running OpenBox.
Okay.
I have used DWM and a few. I used to use KDE a lot. I love KDE; it's very good, but I just can't see myself using it a lot. Mostly because I can't stand the bloat. I'm sorry. I need as few megabytes as possible of RAM used at the moment. I need to have it, and I also want to understand what's running on my system. I want to feasibly look at my HTOP menu and say that's this, that's that, that's that, that's da, 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 da. I want to understand it. And the great thing about a window manager is it forces you to sit down and decide, I need this, I need that, I need this, I don't need this, I need this, I need that. And that lets you construct your own environment so you know exactly what's running and you have more control. So that's what I love about like window managers. And what I love about OpenBox is that it's just from LXDE. So, and I don't know about other people, but I enjoy floating windows. I enjoy tiling windows, but I just can't go away from floating windows. It's just something that I find more aesthetically pleasing. It's just a weird thing about me. But yeah, that's what I'm running on Arch Linux.
Okay. I haven't used OpenBox myself. Yeah, maybe I'll try it out at some point, but I don't really care too much for floating. Like, I use some floating windows. Usually I will use floating windows where it just sort of makes more sense. Like right now I've got, say, my notes, for example, floating above all my other stuff just because I want it to be in a spot where I can easily see it. But most of my other stuff, I don't really care where it's placed, and it just makes more sense for me to just have that be tiling.
Yeah. Tiling makes sense most of the time, like 90%.
It makes a lot of sense
sometimes.
if you're lazy and don't care where stuff's placed.
Exactly. But you need floating sometimes. At least I just need floating sometimes. I need to be able to minimize a window and look at my desktop, which is normally blank. I never set wallpapers, or at least if I do, it's very rarely. So, yeah.
Yeah, I could never use a window manager that's purely tiling. It just wouldn't...
It wouldn't be normal.
Some applications just don't play nicely with tiling either.
Yeah, that is true. It also just feels odd, but odd feelings go away after you get used to things.
I guess so, yeah.
But the first time I fired up DWM and loaded up like Krita or something, it just gave me this really weird feeling, and I don't know. I can't stick to window managers that are entirely just like tiling. Luckily, DWM has functions you can build into it, functions where you can do floating windows, so that's good as well.
When it's a program like that, I just full screen it and then it's fine.
Yeah.
But GIMP, for example, you can make the tool elements floating, and if you don't have them floating in a tiling window manager, they'll just tile somewhere, and it looks very odd.
Yeah. I like having it all in one window, though.
Yeah, same. I think when I was using it on Windows, though, the Windows version does default to having stuff like float around like that, rather than being all in one window.
That's weird. It never defaulted to that for me, but okay.
Okay. Maybe it was just the version I was using, or maybe I don't know, there's something weird going on.
I think they removed that default after a certain version 2.9, I think. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've run GIMP on Windows.
Yeah.
It was never good on Windows because
it's so slow at booting up. It's just so slow. It's ridiculous.
It's actually still a GTK2 app as well, which is also a lot of fun. Let's see. What do we have on here?
There's a few other topics.
Oh, I've got a ton. There's actually some work being done with WSL to get Windows apps running. Linux apps running under Windows. Linux GUI apps.
Under like with WSL.
Yeah, with WSL. I said that really terribly. Getting Linux GUI apps running on WSL. There we go. Got there eventually.
Weren't they supposed to support that like a while ago? Didn't they say they were going to support that a while ago?
I'm pretty
sure they announced WSL 2 and then they said, oh yeah, GUI apps are coming, like that sort of thing. Didn't they say that?
Yeah, they did. But I guess they're coming now.
Oh, okay.
They've been a work in progress for a while.
I mean, what's the point? Most of the stuff that is on Linux is open source. There's probably a Windows port. So I'm assuming that's because if you're dealing with WSL, maybe you want a way to interact directly graphically with your Linux system. That sounds so odd. Like, why would you? I don't really see any reasons for that, because like the idea I'm assuming here is that I develop a program, either it's for development purposes so I can see directly how it would look like on Linux, which makes sense. Only problem is, why don't you just run a Linux virtual machine for that? Second of all, I'm assuming it's meant to be so you can run either software that is exclusive for Linux or software that you want to use to interact with your WSL system graphically? I mean, you're
Yeah.
meant to be able to do everything from the terminal. Like, I don't really know what sort of application this has,
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
I guess if people like it,
I can't think of a single Linux app that I would want to run on WSL that doesn't already have a Windows version.
exactly, yeah. Like, it's difficult to think about. Like, the only thing I thought of is just using it so you can use it exclusively in WSL, so you can do stuff with your WSL. Like, so if you interact directly, like that's the only thing I think of. But would you do that? I don't know.
But it's not doing
It's
anything
confusing.
anything super complicated to get it to work. Basically, it's just going to start up it's going to start up Wayland, start up an X server, and also start up
Oh,
like Pulse
Wayland.
Audio, and it's going to work.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
So just got to pass through those.
Basically, yeah, it's just going to pass through. And I
Never
guess
thought I'd see Wayland running on Windows.
it seems like it's going to get. Actually, that's actually kind of interesting because I wonder if that means it's going to work with the NVIDIA drivers. In which case, NVIDIA, NVIDIA, what are you doing?
Yeah. No, I think they did announce that they are going to add Wayland support at some point. I saw it on Phoronix. Hold up, let's see if I can find it.
Yeah, they did say in the next version of the NVIDIA drivers, there
Yeah.
will be better support. They didn't decide what better means, but better.
Yeah. Hold up, let me look if I can find this page specifically.
Yeah, if you
It
can find
was
it, send
at
it through.
some point. I think somebody said it about it. Because I know for a fact you can get, what was it called? SDL programs running under Wayland. Because those just, run with. That's completely different. But here it is. NVIDIA 470 Linux driver to be even more Wayland friendly, but not Wayland compatible? It's hilarious. That's like saying I'm going to be even more alcohol free. Like, what does that mean? I don't drink, just for clarification. It's just an example. But what is this meant to be? I don't know. But Michael Larabell in NVIDIA posted this, and he said the next major NVIDIA driver series, the 470, is slated to be even more Wayland friendly. This was posted on 5th of March, 2021, so a while ago. All right, well, hopefully, I mean, they'll probably have Wayland support at some point, but it'd just be better if they made the drivers open source. Then again, one thing I didn't notice about the Mesa drivers for AMD cards and just integrated things, that they are open source and they're excellent, but you do need to download separate components from Vulkan sometimes and open like that kind of stuff, which, is perfectly fine. But maybe newer people might be a little confused by that if they're coming from the NVIDIA drivers. So if they do open source stuff, that might cause a little bit of confusion for some people because they're like, oh, I need to install NVIDIA-Vulkan, NVIDIA-this, NVIDIA, that kind of stuff.
Well, they can still keep them bulked, like, all grouped together. Like, they don't have to separate it out.
But the nature of open source is, fragmented, so it's easier to develop on one part and the other and the other and the other. And chances are NVIDIA does it that way, and then they just put it all together and then release it. Like, that's probably what they do internally, hopefully.
I would hope so. I hope that it's just make it all in one giant repo. It's not just a complete
mess. Here, GitHub project, NVIDIA driver, and then it's just illegible. Nobody can understand.
Don't even separate out the GeForce and the Quadro drivers. Just put them all in one repo.
It's just the same one. I mean, then again, they probably are the same drivers. Just like a setting is changed, so professional programs run better with an artificial cap on the GeForce drivers. NVIDIA.
Yeah, I intentionally didn't like. I bought this system just before the big hardware crisis that we have right now. And I'm very happy I did not buy NVIDIA.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the prices for those are completely crazy.
I was
Every
looking at
graphics card.
prices not too long ago in Australia, and I think... Actually, we're going to find out how much it's going to cost me to buy a 3090.
Let's see how much a more reasonable 2070 costs on eBay.com. With shipping.
If you can find it on eBay, good luck.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they don't have it on Amazon either. So let me check on Amazon. So 2070 on eBay goes for only $260. And then there's one going for $420. Very, very funny, man. Let's see. NVIDIA GTX 2070. Let's see what Amazon has to say about this. There's one for sale. This is in UAE currency, not in dollars. So I don't know exactly how to tell you. Oh, fascinatingly, when you search up 2070, rather than selling you a graphics card, they're trying to sell you laptops that have 2070s in them.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Well, that's something. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, like, because laptops are generally like a better way, not better, but in theory, more efficient way of constructing hardware. Those are probably going to be the most resistant
Mm-hmm.
to things like hardware shortages, because normally they just built 100 of them and then they're ready.
Mm.
And it's a whole system that already functions and it's all there. I'm pretty sure you could probably find single graphics cards for sale that cost more than a laptop with a similar graphics card, if not the same graphics card, because the prices have hiked up just so high.
Would you like a 24 gig RTX 3090? Because it's gonna cost you 4,600 Australian dollars, which is about 3,500 US.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, what is that? Like that's a good,
That what I spent on my car.
yeah, around. It's like you just gonna buy a new car. Isn't that even more than how much the previous Quattro costs? Not the Quattro.
I
Is it
don't
the
even
Quattro?
know.
Which one?
Can you even buy Quadros right now? That's a question. I don't know.
I don't even know.
Obviously Quadros wouldn't be a good mining card. Surely not. Maybe? I don't know.
The RDX 4000 costs. Yes, it costs less. It costs literally less to buy an RDX 4000. Excellent. It costs like $2,000.
Jeez.
All right, but it has only 8 gigs of VRAM, so
Yeah,
that's something to consider. Well, it's still a Quadro RTX. That's like crazy. When it comes, thing is, this shortage. Some people think it's up to mining. Some people think it's like a higher demand for electronics. Some people think it's like a silicon shortage. It's sort of these things really that's causing this. Like crypto's a big thing, obviously. People are spending money. Then there's just people wanting more GPUs. There's lots more people gaming these days. There's lots more people who want to buy this sort of stuff. Then there's a genuine silicon shortage that's been showing up in the recent days because of this. So that's how it is. I don't really know when this will be over, but hey, if there's something important that it will teach hardware manufacturers, is that either ramp up your supply, which is very difficult to do because you don't expect there to be a pandemic, you don't expect there to be crypto boom, you don't expect these things, and also I guess try to make a circuit that is as efficient as possible, a piece of hardware that uses the least silicon and materials as possible, try to make it as minimalist as possible, just so you can sell it for a lower price, or at least sell it at a lower loss for some of these people. So yeah, I guess that sort of teaches them that, but I don't know.
I think the only bit of commuter hardware you can buy very easily right now is hard drives. Hard drives are dirt cheap right now.
Yeah, they are very cheap. I recently bought an SSD recently for very cheap. But recently people have been talking about how, I've seen a few posts on many places about, they keep talking about this new cryptocurrency called Chia, which is an entire cryptocurrency based off mining with, instead of mining just directly, like for your information, I'm assuming you understand the basic concept of crypto mining, the idea that you just, so instead of mining like that.
Yeah, okay, I see it, yep.
Yeah, you basically, what you do is you randomize hashes, you randomize different plots, they're called. So I think there's a great video Mental Outlaw made where he explained it, where you basically just like imagine making a bunch of lottery tickets and then selecting random numbers on each one and then just waiting for somebody to call them in like a bingo. That's what this is. And I have set up a plot for Chia just to see how it works. It takes like 5 hours to plot something. It's ridiculous. But you basically get all these little files that are these lottery tickets or containers of different hashes and random stuff. And if at some point the blockchain finds a block and that block corresponds to your thing, you get free money. Now, at the moment, nobody even knows if this is worth it because, hey, what if Chia, it's not listed on any exchanges. Nobody knows how much it's worth. So you could have like 100 Chia or whatever. It's worth like 2 cents or something like that. So that is a distinct possibility. But yeah, that's just how it is. It's at the moment. Who knows what will happen in the future? So if that goes up, if that goes crazy, if one Chia is worth like 20 cents or something and people begin, there's already like 170. I saw this because the Chia daemon shows you this. 170, more than 100. I can actually, I'll check it right now. See if I can find it. It's like 100 and something petabytes of people mining this. So 170 petabytes of plots, so data on hard disks and SSDs that has been dedicated to this. If that becomes profitable, think of the hard drive prices and SSD prices. That little bastion of success, these cheap SSDs, cheap hard drive, gone, no more. You don't get those anymore. Those are gone. No, mining time. Yeah, that could happen.
Yeah, someone did ask me if I'd seen Mental Outlaw's video on this, and I hadn't, but okay. I take back what I said then.
Chia a long while ago, before Mental Outlaw's video. I'd seen about it like weeks before that was uploaded, and I began looking into it. But after his video, I was like, oh yeah, this is all sort of coming together. I don't know if it's going to be successful. I doubt that it's really super good, because yes, it is an alternative way of mining, and that's a clever idea. It's supposedly environmentally friendly, which I doubt a bit. The idea behind mining is you're randomly generating hashes. The idea behind this is you basically have a long session of just randomly generating stuff, like with mining. But this time it's just one session, then it stops, and you're just using hard drive space. There is a tool on the Chia Blockchain Explorer that what it does is it calculates based off how much Chia space is being used. So 170 petabytes or something. It estimates how much power is currently being used. And at the moment, it's sitting at somewhere like 800,000 watts. And 800,000 watts, that's like 100 computers. And there's far more than 100 computers mining Chia. So I guess that's a good sign, sort of. But obviously, it depends on hardware manufacturer, depends on what sort of power suppliers, and depends on so many things. So there's really no distinct way to tell. But that's how it is. And I hope that... What is it?
I was going to say, but the problem with this coin is that it's not on a single exchange, so...
Exactly. Who knows? Like, that's the problem. But the problem is, if it gets on exchanges, if it goes up in value, hard drive prices are done for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I guess in the beginning of Mental Outlaw's video, he says that. He says, oh, buy hard drives now. Buy them now before it's too late. And he has a point. I mean, I'm lucky that I bought that SSD before any of this Chia stuff begins to blow up. But who knows? It all just might completely crash, which it might happen. So nobody knows.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the crash. I want my crypto millions.
Please, down.
Yeah.
Their time. Yeah. Bitcoin has crashed. It went from it used to be 60,000 at some point. Now it's gone 55,000. It's 50,000. It does keep crashing.
Yeah, I wish I'd bought at the start of Corona. I did make money off of the rise we've had, but if I bought back at the start, that would have been I'd be retired.
A lot. Yeah. No, but the thing with cryptocurrency, just like the stock market, just like all these things, it is gambling. The only certainty you can have is coins like Bitcoin, coins like maybe Ethereum, maybe Monero are going to go up generally in value over time, because more people are going to be interested in the technology, interested in investing in technology, interested in using it. So that's the assumption you're going to make. But if you're investing in some random one-off coin, like the one that I saw recently, it's called Pirate Chain.
Yeah, I did. There's a lot of people getting really into Pirate Chain in my
Pirate Chain went up. I remember seeing it back when it was 6 cents. It's like, oh, that'd be interesting. I bought a bit of it. Then I was like, this is bull crap. So I went out. Now it's 15 times the value.
Yeah, it is.
So I did a bad decision there.
It is the most anonymous cryptocurrency, according to them.
That's a lie, but I don't believe them. I don't believe them one bit. It seems like a scam, a pump and dump scheme or something like that. I trust Monero. I don't trust Pirate Chain.
That's fair. Yeah, I'm just looking at the graph, and it's just up.
Oh, you got to check this out. The best white paper I've ever seen is the Wownero white paper. So if you go to the Wownero website, you can get their white paper. So Wownero, it's the meme coin based off Monero.
Yeah.
We actually have a mining pool for that. I haven't set it up on my server. In fact, that's why I bought the SSD, to start mining pools. But they have a really good white paper. I think it highlights every single aspect of what really makes a really good meme coin, and it's a great white paper. I definitely recommend you reread it if you have the time. So if you search it up right now, you'll find that it's just it's good basically.
I clicked on their white paper, and it took me to a blank PDF.
Yeah. What's the PDF? Yeah, that's the white paper.
Okay. Okay, sure.
It's a white paper. It's a white paper.
Yeah, that's fair. I keep hearing about. Okay, there's all these meme tokens that are showing up, and I love it.
But no, you'll never believe it. But Wownero has boomed past Doge. Yeah, it exploded overnight. It's ridiculous. Now, not many exchanges list it, but they do list it. Like some exchanges say its value. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not estimated. It's on Coin Market Cap. It's official. It's valued at like $1 and something. It has surpassed Dogecoin, which is insane.
Okay, who is listing
Which
this? Let's
yeah,
find out.
reiterates the point that Dogecoin, it's not a superior product to anything like Bitcoin or whatever. And something like Monero genuinely is superior to most other cryptocurrencies. Maybe you can make the case that Ethereum is better because of the smart contract, because Ether is used as a currency. But Monero and Monero, by extension, are superior. Monero has the advantage of having a limited supply. So not only is it better than most other cryptos, but it has an advantage over Monero if you have the opinion that maybe Monero's infinite supply is not a good idea. So if you want to use a coin that has a limited supply for supposedly more stable value, I guess, I don't really know what they mean by that, then you can use Monero. So that's why some people genuinely accept both Monero and Monero as donations. So yeah.
Since we're on the topic of crypto, the other day in Australia, I saw a hashtag on Twitter. It was hashtag #cumrocket. Now, I did not know what cumrocket was, but it is another cryptocurrency.
Hold up.
Yes.
Let's take a look at this. I've already oh boy, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this. Oh, it has been booming. It's at 20. It's at 2 cents.
Yep.
Whoop-de frickin' do. I have no idea how long this is gonna last, but this is pretty interesting.
According to benzinga.com, it surged 634% in a single day.
It appears to have done that. Yes, that it shows up here on CoinMarketCap. Its current value, as I said, is at 2 cents. It's up 16% today. It's falling a bit, and supposedly it has a market cap of $209 million. So that's worth more than loads
on
of
the one exchange it's on.
I don't really know. Let me check on my exchange, see if I can buy some glorious rocket.
It's only on
Let's see.
Pancake Swap right now, but
I expect it will be listed soon.
So this
Let's take a
coin
good
is
look.
like an absolute meme coin. The short so the project is called Cumrocket Crypto, but the shorthand name for the actual coin is Cummies.
Oh boy. Let's see what their white paper says. It has a proper white paper. What does this say? It's a deflationary token that operates on the Binance Smart Chain. Oh, that's garbage. Oh, not Binance. Cumrocket's main goal is to tap into the. Oh, I can't say that word. Okay, so let me just say it's you know how they use Ethereum to sell NFTs?
Yes, this is to sell NFTs of
This
anime
is
girls.
to sell NFTs of. Yeah. So
of naked anime girls. Yes.
Yeah, this is no, but this has been going up in value. So if you bought some of this, you're doing good for yourself now. People, I don't know, like let's be honest, that industry, it's a horrible industry. It's a terrifying industry, but it dictates economies. It dictates technologies. VHS, why did that succeed? Because of that industry. So who knows? But anyway, yeah, I guess that's a fascinating thing to learn about today. I knew somebody would have named a cryptocurrency like that. 3 letters, boom, instantly.
Perfect plan. Why was it? Australia was the only place it was trending. That's the weird thing.
Well, it's on the Binance Smart Chain, so a lot of people might not trust it fully, or at least don't like it because it's not technically like decentralized.
Crypto's a weird space.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely weird, but it's working for some people. There's some places where you buy things entirely in crypto, tangible goods. So I think that's a good idea. Only problem is they're basically limited by value in fiat. So prices on websites are constantly changing. If I buy something now in Dogecoin, few minutes from now, the price may have completely changed and I could have gotten ripped off or gotten a deal. So that's the problem with it, is people don't treat it as a currency as much as they treat it as some kind of magical stock or security that they can use. And this has been sort of what the SEC has been talking about with LBRY and Odyssey, where they've been trying to convince them that it is a security. That's an entirely different argument. I do need to take a look at the SEC's proper case on this, because I think they might have a point.
They might,
or something like that. Let's see.
But have you seen there is some pretty amazing things this investigation has been going on for 3 years, and there's some pretty amazing questions that the SEC was asking Library.
What are they?
Okay, I'll read some out for you. So, let's see. No, that one's not that funny. Let's go to the next one. Next one. No, show me the next picture, thank you. Where is it? Here we go. Why did Library maintain its website in 2016? That was the first question. And Jeremy answers, are you asking why a company has a website? Yeah, for the record. And Jeremy says, companies have websites. No. I'm asking why Library has a website. The library had a website so there was a place who could go to learn that Library existed, learn about, and download and read about it.
Use it.
Here we go. Why did Library intend... Wait. Did Library intend that its post would be accurate? Yes. And why did Library intend that its post would be accurate? You're asking why we intend to be accurate. Yeah. My general intent in life is to be exclusively accurate. Not everybody shares that view. I understand that. So I'm trying to figure out what Library's intent was. I would not feel comfortable running a company that did not strive to be accurate.
Well, the SEC is an interesting beast. They operate differently from a lot of parts of the U.S. federal government, although I'm not an expert by any means. But they, unlike something like, if this was a serious issue, they would have definitely brought in the FBI. If this was actually something they considered a massive fraud. Yeah. So clearly, if the SEC is coming in, it's probably just a case they don't consider super high profile. But the main question here is LBC a security? And that's a good question, because you got to ask yourself, on one hand, is somebody manipulating the prices on the LBRY network on Odyssey.com? Are people changing their prices for videos? Are people changing it based off the value of LBC? Some people might be, but most people, and the view reward is normally set at a certain amount. It's capped or something. So it's not like they're going to start paying you less or more based off like your view reward is set based off your success. It's not based off the value of LBC. One day you could be getting $1 million per view. One day you could be getting a cent, that kind of thing. At the moment, it's at like zero. For me, it's like 0.3 something. LBC for you might be different. For people, it's different. So by every view that from a verified Odyssey account or whatever. So the question here is, am I earning more or less money from this? Well, it depends, because if you intend to exchange LBC for money that you can use to buy other things, then yes, obviously it is a security. It changes value. It's been crashing recently too. It's at 14 cents. It's been completely plummeting straight into the drink. But it's going to go up probably. I think there's lots of interest in Odyssey and LBRY. But anyway, that's besides the point. So from that perspective, it is a security. From the perspective of a website using a token for people to trade with each other that coincidentally can also be traded for other tokens that may or may not be able to be traded for real money, then it's not really a security, because I send you 5 library credits, you send me 5 library credits, I watch this video, I pay 5 library credits to watch this video, I support this creator, I send them 2 library credits as a donation on the video. My decisions aren't dictated by how much LBC is worth. I'm not deciding, I'm not given a prompt or any kind of screen where I can see what the monetary value of that is. They only have that on the Android app. Yeah, that's the only criticism I think I have. They shouldn't have that on the Android. They need to de-emphasize the concept of currency in it, I think, to some extent. And also there's the question, doesn't this invalidate all cryptos? Because all cryptocurrencies are securities. I think they're specifically targeting LBRY because they don't explicitly market themselves as a currency. If you go to LBRY,
the other problem is that they are an unregistered security. Like if a project decided to register themselves as a security, the SEC would have no problem with them.
Then that brings us back to the question of, is it a security or not? So that's just a debate for them to settle in court, not for us to settle here. I'm not one to give financial advice or financial anything. Really.
I don't know enough about the US legal system to say whether or not it is a security. Like people have asked me to do a video on this, and like Wait,
can't answer. I don't know.
get the lawyers to do it. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, get somebody else to do it. But I mean, I think if doesn't really matter because LBRY is decentralized. The blockchain is hosted on many computers. You could always watch the videos. You can always do everything. So it's not of concern whether they get shut down. I would really not want them to get shut down. But if they get shut down or not get shut down, it's not going to be a massive impact. Somebody's going to come along and host an instance of Odyssey or host something like that so they can have it all. Speaking of Odyssey, they're making a mobile app for it. They're making loads of progress, adding loads of new things. Yeah, I think it's going to be excellent. I've enjoyed all my time with LBRY since I first began using it early last year.
Yeah, okay.
I synced over my late last year, all that kind of stuff. It's been excellent. I loved every second of it. I find it to be so much more refreshing than YouTube. It pays more than YouTube. Even through entirely donations, I've genuinely made more money off LBRY than I've ever made off YouTube. It's excellent. Yeah, so that's how it is.
I've got one more amazing SEC question. And holders of credits, if the value goes up, would have greater value, correct? It is true that if someone owns something and it increases in price, that person has more money. If something goes up in value, it goes up in value. What a brilliant question the SEC has.
That's more of a statement than a question. I think they're just making. If it wasn't the SEC, or if this wasn't also publicized and all, it might just be some kind of move to just shut them down because they don't like LBRY in some other capacity, like some excuse.
This isn't the only project they've gone after. Like the other big project they're going after right now is Ripple.
Oh yeah, Ripple.
But that one had a massive crash when the thing first came out, and then it just shot up in value. And it's likely the same thing will happen with Library as well, because one thing that has been happening during all of this, I can't confirm this, but what I've been told from people who are involved with Library is that the users have just continued to go up as they've always been going up.
Oh, I expect that to happen because people are really fed up with YouTube. They're tired of, at least if you make videos on YouTube. And the great thing about Odyssey is they offer the tools for you to sync over YouTube. You don't even need to think about it. I left it over for 5 months. I turned on the sync late November last year. I came back 5 months later. Oh, I have like 2,000 LBRY credits just left there in the, oh, whoop-de-doo. So no, it wasn't 2,000. It was 1,000 or something.
Yeah,
but yeah, like I just left it there. I never touched it. I never went there. I never checked anything. Never staked anything in any videos. I just left it, and boom, money, and success. And people were watching my videos. The most viewed video, ironically, was a video that had been taken off YouTube by YouTube.
The YouTube DL one.
Yeah,
I had the exact same thing happen.
That's my most viewed video on all. Yeah, exactly. Friggin' YouTube DL videos, and they were taken down. That's my most popular video because people watched the YouTube video, then went over to Odyssey to watch it. I think more and more people can watch on Odyssey because you can sync over the YouTube channel. Don't even need to think about it. That's what's genius about it. You don't even need to switch over. Just use YouTube and then leave it over. And then boom, success. You're helping the platform without actually doing anything, just making your regular video. That's genius. I think that's a very, very good tactic. Only problem is now they're going to have to work out a way to manage all those YouTube downloads and managing with the YouTube API and downloading the description and stuff and all that kind of stuff. So. Yeah, I know you can do it all with YouTube DL, but there's probably more they got to do with the YouTube API to actually make sure they know when new videos come up and the ratings and the tags, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how do you initially find Odyssey? Because I found it because some of the guys who are like really big fans of it started like pestering me in my comments.
I found it out because of the Linux Gamer. I would watch the Linux Gamer, and he's like, "Oh, check me out on LBRY. Oh, what's LBRY?" And I went to LBRY, and I'm like, "Oh, this is what it is. It's just like YouTube, but better." This is like. Yeah, once again, like early last year. And I thought it was really cool. So I signed up an account. I started uploading some of my videos, but then I just stopped. And then I was like, all right, let's just refresh all of this. I deleted it all, created a new account. No, I didn't create a new account. I used the same account, but reclaimed the same name and then synced over my YouTube channel. And then boom, Odyssey. Well, it was on LBRY.
Yeah, it was Library TV at that point, yeah.
Yeah, LBRY.TV. They didn't have the sync feature at first, but when Odyssey was introduced, when people began telling me about Odyssey, I was like, oh, well, this is, you shouldn't use this. You should use LBRY.TV because they didn't know it was the same thing. Then I went there. I'm like, this interface reminds me of something. And then I look at, oh, this is LBRY. Yeah, That's genius. Only problem is it's confusing for consumers.
The problem, yeah, that is one of the big issues. It's the same sort of problem like Mastodon and stuff has, and Matrix, I guess, as well, where you have all of these different ways to access it.
Matrix, Mastodon, this, that, Gab, whatever. It's confusing.
Like people sort of used to having, like, if you want to go to Twitter, you go to twitter.com.
Twitter.
If you want to go to
It's
Facebook, you go to
central.
Facebook.
One big thing, yeah.
But then, trying out Matrix, you're like, do you want to join this home server, this home server, this home server, this one?
Yeah. I mean, when I first signed up to Matrix or on Element, I just signed up to the default home server.
Yeah.
I set everything up, and I had no issue understanding the concept that, this is Matrix and stuff. Mostly because I understood the concept of self-hosting.
Yeah.
I didn't fully understand the idea that you could self-host your entire Matrix instance and not just a community or something, but that was besides the point. What I did find confusing was their current way with Element of dealing with communities, because I then found an interesting client. I forgot who develops this, but it's called Carbon or something, and it's basically an Element or a Matrix client dedicated entirely to being as similar to Discord, and it has this genius idea. What if we just have the communities on the side? You click on the community, and then another little bar opens with all the chats in those community, instead of putting it all in one single row, one single column. And I thought that was a clever idea. So now Element's basically doing the same with their new Spaces initiative. Well, Matrix is going to add these too. So you're basically going to be able to make Discord servers on Matrix, which I think is a great idea. I think that's finally, exactly. Communities will finally be good. So I think that's gonna entice a lot of people to move over. We'll talk about Discord being sold to Microsoft. They were in talks. Now they're saying that maybe they might go public. And if that happens and Discord crashes, who knows? I don't know. But kids will still keep using Discord. 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, they just love it. They just eat it all up. They love it. So I don't expect a lot of those to switch over to Element or Matrix.
Well, if they go anywhere, they'll go to Gilded probably.
Yeah. Gilded is interesting. I tried it out. It's this I don't really see any advantages over Discord besides it having more features and it's got more things. If I'm able to set up a bridge with Matrix to Gilded, which currently isn't possible because Gilded is yet to release their bots and stuff, and also there have been a few people that have been pressing Gilded about, hey, why don't you make Gilded open source? And they haven't done it. They shunned the question, so it's clear that there's something weird going on. It's probably just like Discord is. It's massive spyware. It's that great spyware. What are they? Spyware Watchdogs page. I forgot what it was called, but you could see a great page where they have a page on Discord and they talk about all the problems with it, all the spying it does, and especially the Discord client program has genuine access and can see the programs you're running on your Windows computer. So that's a massive privacy risk. So you definitely shouldn't use Discord for privacy. So that's, I think, the biggest thing people care about. They want a good private system. And obviously Matrix is the ideal solution because it's self-hosted as well. So nobody can shut it down or decide that, you're not allowed to say this, you're not allowed to do that, which is good. But it's not super user-friendly. If somebody made an interface like Gilded that could interact with Matrix, that'd be great. But we're talking about an open source project here. They're not funded by some massive corporation. And if they were, it'd probably ruin the project. So
yeah. I'll have to check out this Carbon client you were mentioning, because
it's no good. It's good for private messaging. It does not support encrypted messaging, I believe it. It's pretty much not featureful. You can't do anything in it, but it's just a proof of concept. You can make things look good, and it works.
That makes sense. But yeah, I've got a bunch of my Discord chats. I guess the chats in the Discord server bridged over, and Matrix has. I get why they've done it, because a lot of people like IRC, like a lot of people in the open source community like IRC, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work if you're trying to do stuff with bridging to Discord, where you have 20 rooms just in a massive list with no sort of grouping.
It's not going to work, exactly. So now that they're adding these places, hopefully it'll be more organized, because everything in Matrix is a room, regardless of whether it's in a community, regardless of whether it's just a random room somewhere, it's a room. So if I'm able to make a place places feature with Matrix, with Element or whatever, and it looks nice. It looks like a Discord server, and each chat individually is a Matrix chat. I can use the bot, bridge them over to Discord, and it's like the same experience on both sides. It takes a little bit more work on my end, but it works. So once they get this places things out, it's mostly UI changes. Like honestly, nothing about the communities technically from the protocol's perspective at the back end is wrong. It's all just how Element organizes it. You have to right click on the community and click view community to see the community. Somebody coming from Discord is going to be so confused. And I was so confused when I first used Element. So as soon as they fix these UI issues, these UI weird decisions, then they're going to be golden. I think it's going to be excellent. It's going to be really easy to switch people over.
I think the other thing that needs to be addressed is the fact that there's no community-wide or space-wide moderation at this point. So if someone's being an absolute asshole and you want to ban them, you have to ban them individually from each of the rooms they're in.
That is another thing. I believe they should have just. I think
there's some like third-party bot tools you can use, but like there's nothing built in.
Yeah. If you could ban someone entirely from an entire place, that could be a good feature. So I guess that's not really my biggest concern because I got like 4 chats in my entire thing, so that's easy to get over. But if you have like 10 chats or something, and also managing permissions for each individual chat, managing world readability and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. If you want to have switches, if you just want to have mods, you have to go and mod the person in each of the individual rooms as well.
Individually tell, this is an administrator, and not to mention that it's completely unintuitive. And they should add a feature like on Discord to at least either give the moderators a different color name, so you can tell. Like these UI touches that may not make sense to a developer, but make sense to an end user.
Yeah.
Because an end user wants colorful, basic looking stuff. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not saying it has to be dumbed down, but certainly some UI changes need to be done to make it look better. And if you don't like it, just use an older version of Element or use what I use, which is excellent. It supports encrypted chats as well. I use Gomux, an excellent terminal client for Matrix. Yeah, probably going to make a video on it because it's just so much fun to use. I love this. Gomux.
I think someone's mentioned that one to me before. I haven't used it though. I've just been lazy and just use Element because Element just sort of works.
Yeah, Gomux is. I mean, obviously you can't really do a lot from Gomux. It's Element's what you should use.
Yeah.
To moderate and do everything, but on Gomux, it's excellent because you can just read your chat, just do whatever, and it's on the terminal. And it's great to using it if you're using it on a system that may not have a graphical interface or may not be able to run a web browser super well, or if you just don't want to run a web browser, if you want it to be less resource intensive, then Gomux is excellent. So yeah.
Let's shift to a funny topic I mentioned during when we were just getting ready for this. The Big Bird Bandit. I'll send you a link to it just because it's honestly hilarious.
Let's take a look at this.
So this was big news in South Australia the other week. So basically, what happened? Basically, what happened is anyone who's just listening to the audio version, I'm sure you've seen Sesame Street before. There's a character in Sesame Street called Big Bird, and there was a circus in Australia, in Adelaide specifically, where they had Sesame Street characters, and 2 dudes just decided they want to steal the costume. I don't know why, but they also, when they returned it, they had a letter that they wanted to offer. We are so sorry. We had no idea what we were doing or what our actions would cause. What? Okay, sure. We were just having a rough time, and we're trying to cheer ourselves up. We had a great time with Mr. Bird. He's a great guy, and no harm came to our friend. Sorry to be such a big burden, and burden was spelled like bird. Sincerely, the Big Bird Bandits.
Yeah, that's interesting. Interesting thing to happen.
Adelaide. That's look. It might sound crazy, but this is just Adelaide. This is pretty normal, to be honest.
Okay, just all right. I guess it happened again this week. Somebody stole the Big Bird just to mess around and left an apology note with a bunch of unfunny puns.
Look, there's not the. If you ever come to Australia, one thing you would find out is that nothing happens in Adelaide. It is the most boring city in the entire country.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. If you're gonna do something fun, stealing a Big Bird costume, at least they didn't steal it for real. They just took it and like gave it back in a like. Yes, they still stole it, but they didn't. They gave it back. So,
But
who knows who it could have been?
The funny part about this though is how much the costume costs.
Oh, how much does it cost?
$160,000.
Oh my! Oh, whoa!
I don't know
Big
how.
Bird's expensive. It's just like maybe because they have to get it so accurately done. Like perhaps they just need to like sculpt his face in such a specific way so he doesn't lose his charm. Or maybe it's got something to do with the materials they use or the feathers or it's it is gigantic. If you've seen Big Bird, it's
213
huge.
centimeters is how big this costume is.
Exactly. That's taller than most people. Look at that. It almost reaches the roof of this place. This depressing dark room. In fact, I should definitely open the window. Hold up. But yeah, so it is big. It's very, very large. So I expect it to be a little, difficult to sort of steal that. How are you gonna carry just without anybody noticing? Carry a 2 meter tall Big Bird costume out. Like how do they get it?
It doesn't explain how they actually got it. They just like grabbed it and left, I guess.
Yeah, it was flown in from New York as well. So yeah, it came straight
from Sesame Street.
Exactly, straight from Sesame Street itself. Big Bird, and Big Bird at least entertains Adelaide for a week. So there's something there.
Since we're on the topic of people doing dumb stuff, I guess we'll also talk about the earthquake that happened in America.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Okay, I'm gonna. I
know it happened.
Where in my list of topics? Where is it? So, a gender reveal party. We all know what gender reveal parties are. It's where parents
recently.
where parents decide they want to tell people what gender their child is because I don't know they think people care. Sometimes the gender reveal parties go a little bit bad, like causing California wildfires, killing 2 people in an airplane crash, things like this. Or setting off 80 pounds of tannerite in a quarry and causing an earthquake 2 states over.
Now that's an accomplishment. They should have competitions for this, I swear. Like they should genuinely go and have a competition of who can cause most property damage and just destroy by revealing their child's gender.
Currently, it goes to the California wildfires. That's the most damage that's been done so far.
But like, think of what you could do. You could release mustard gas in the color of a child's gender, just pink mustard gas or something like that. Or you could do something else ridiculous.
You could
if they caused an earthquake, sky's the limit.
You could launch a nuke, and the color of the mushroom cloud is the gender of the child.
Yeah. You could launch some kind of rocket like that, and the color of the plume would be the color of the child. Or maybe you could launch, just to make it like an extra surprise, you could launch like a weather balloon with explosives and they explode in the color of the child or something like that. Or fireworks that go horribly wrong, which is probably what causes most of these. So what caused this? Did they do like an explosion?
Yeah,
what did they do?
What they did is they bought 80 pounds of tannerite, which is 36 kilos.
Oh boy.
They put it in a quarry because they thought a quarry would be the safest place to do it. Because, if you blow up 80 pounds of tannerite in open space, you're probably gonna get hit with some debris. So they put it underground.
So just put it in a hole.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's a clever idea.
The fact that no one died from this is impressive. They put it in a hole, and I guess they didn't realize that that's obviously gonna do more damage underground, and that 80 pounds is a lot of explosive. Especially set off all at once.
Yeah. My question is, how did this exactly cause an earthquake? Because it is a big explosion. I don't really have a sense of scale when it comes to explosives. I don't know what, like you said, what explosive are they using for this? It's tannerite. Yeah, tannerite. I have no idea what that would be like. I don't know anything about I don't know anything about guns or explode. I genuinely would not be able to calculate how much that is. But
I think it has something
to do. Is there a calculator with this? Hold up.
I think it also has something to do with the fact that it was in a quarry. Something about
maybe some geology reason.
Yeah. I don't know how it caused it, but if you put it above ground, surely it wouldn't do it then, because you have bigger explosions than that don't cause earthquakes.
Perhaps. Okay, this is my botched geology theory,
right?
Which I don't know anything about because I don't know anything about geology, or just rocks or the Earth in general. But this is my theory. Because they put it in a quarry, there wasn't anything to cushion this explosion. So what happened was the vibrations were able to carry through the ground because there's nothing. Because if you did it in like a forest or somewhere, the vibrations would be cushioned by the trees.
Right.
But since they did it in a quarry, because you're literally talking about rock, which is pretty well conductive of vibrations, and that's why earthquakes are so dangerous, then that's what happened. They set off this explosion and boom, just like caused these vibrations everywhere because it was in a quarry, specifically because it wasn't a quarry. So that's my theory, just because there was nothing that cushioned the impact. But I don't know anything about geology, so I might be completely wrong. There's probably some geologist out there who knows.
I think we need to see what let's say like how big is a kilogram of tannerite, just so we can get a scale of like what 36 times.
Like how big is that explosion? How many newtons? Let's see.
A kilogram of tannerite. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, 1 pound of tannerite. Let's see. What does tannerite.com have to tell me about it? Well, it actually wouldn't have been that expensive. It's only like $9 for a pound of it, so...
Oh.
Wow, causing an earthquake's pretty cheap. Let's see,
They say it's I'm assuming it's I just read here, it's like an equivalent to TNT. So you should be able to use TNT calculations to figure this out. So, and according to the calculators I found online, this sort of like TNT explosion would be, how much is this? Oh, it's around 36 kilograms. It'd be around 29.1 kilograms of explode. What is that even meant to mean? I want to figure out newtons. Hold up. TNT calculators. There's got to be some online.
Oh, I found what someone blowing up half a pound of tannerite.
Oh, okay. How much is that?
So here's a video.
Let's take a look. Half a pound of tannerite explosion.
Switch to the correct thing. What? My OBS keeps switching to your face every time I try to show my web browser.
Okay, I'm looking at this now, and it's pretty. I mean, this is nice to look at. It's a explosion.
It is, but like times that by 160.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. I can see why this caused an earthquake now. Yeah. Oh, it's all coming together now. I don't even think it was the quarry, but maybe that could have contributed.
I don't know if there's a video of the actual explosion going on.
I don't think anybody would have.
Look, you got to get that cloud on the internet. That's the only reason you do this.
That is true, but maybe it was only for friends. I don't know. Let's see. Hold up.
I didn't look much into the story. I just like, this is dumb, and I have to talk about this.
There appears to be no like. There's photos of it, but there appears to be no actual like videos of it. There's videos of the aftermath. There's videos of the explosion that happened. Let's see if there's any news channels that have the proper film of it.
But just seeing this, like the picture of the explosion, sort of gives you an idea of.
Yeah, this is big. At least we know it was a boy. The embarrassment of this guy, knowing that his life literally started off with a bang. He's
made an impact on the world. But
yeah, a physical impact, a vibration.
The New Hampshire man has already turned himself into police after setting off this explosion. So at least he's not on the run like the Big Bird bandits.
Yeah, which we don't know where they went. The greatest criminals of all time, the Big Bird bandits, just try to entertain a town for a weekend just by stealing Big Bird, who costs $100 and something thousand to make. Yeah, this is fascinating. Yeah, but I don't know how much force this would have generated, but I can see now why this would have caused proper, earthquake.
I don't know like how big it was. Like people were saying things fell off their wall and the foundation of their houses cracked. So it's not like a, house destroying earthquake, anything like that.
Yeah, so nothing really bad happened, but it was an earthquake caused by an explosion. So I don't know if it was caused maybe by the quarry or if it was caused by something else, but 80 pounds of tannerite is going to do something.
It's definitely going to do something. Yeah. We can see that.
there will be some form of physical impact. So yeah.
People are dumb. People are dumb. That's all.
Yeah.
That's a
That's normal.
good way to sum it up. Oh, I had something hilarious happen the other day. With YouTube being the way they are, and just deleting videos because I don't know, they don't like
Yeah, for
YouTube
fun.
DL.
It's their favorite sport.
I got a email from Dailymotion the other day because I have a Dailymotion account for some reason. And they're like, "Oh yes, we have decided to terminate your account." That was all the email said. There was nothing else there. It wasn't like you broke this specific rule in our TOS. Nope, we've deleted your account.
At least they don't lie.
Yeah. YouTube, harmful and dangerous content with YouTube DL.
Yeah, you're gonna teach kids how to build bombs by using YouTube DL, or by using Linux, dangerous hacking tool Linux.
I guess your video got removed before mine did, because I noticed in that video when you were scrolling, my video was still in the search results.
Yeah, I'm upset about that to some extent because I put a lot of work into that. It was one of my just used videos. It's my flagship series. It's not my best made one. It's something I genuinely cared about. I'm upset that got I put more editing into that than I normally put into most other videos because most other videos don't really take that much editing. It's just done beforehand. But yeah. So I was upset that got taken. But whatever. Tough. It's on Odyssey now.
Yeah. Well, actually, I wonder if any of the other videos got taken down, like Luke's videos or something. I know Luke was having issues.
Luke's video was taken down. The,
Okay.
the YouTube DL video by Luke was taken down. Yeah.
Let's see what is actually available about YouTube DL. We've got one still sitting here about how to install YouTube DL on Windows.
They won't take that one down.
I don't know. YouTube just does whatever they want, to be honest.
YouTube just... I'm pretty sure we can go through and comb technical statistics and figure out exactly why they take down some videos and don't take down others, but we just don't know. It's just a magic crystal ball every time you upload a video, whether it's going to be taken down or not. Most of the time it's not. Sometimes it is. Sometimes you get a strike and you can't upload for a week. That's just how it is sometimes.
Luckily, mine was just a warning, so I didn't get anything. Like, there's nothing actually happened from that.
Yeah, I got a warning for a live stream because we showed some copyrighted content at some point.
Okay.
Then I got the strike for the YouTube DL, and I got a strike recently for another video about something else. But that's also on Odyssey, so it doesn't really matter.
Luckily, we have Odyssey then.
Yep. Luckily, it syncs everything over before YouTube takes it down.
I do love Odyssey. It is a great service. I do think that it definitely still has a lot of work that needs to be done. Like transcoding, obviously, is still very much needed.
It's incredibly intensive, so it's difficult to transcode all those videos. But maybe someday they'll get it to work.
I know that they've actually got transcoding enabled for certain videos above 500 views, I believe.
Yeah, they do enable it for that, just to improve performance. But it's like, my question is, it's meant to be stored on a blockchain. How will they handle that? How will they handle all these different things? Like, it'd be interesting to see how they technically handle kind of new things, these new features they're adding, because that demands big modifications to the blockchain that they're currently using, or some kind of method of interacting with it, because it's not like you can delete past videos and just do it all again. So, yeah.
Yeah, with the obviously the videos themselves are not stored on the blockchain. It's like a pointer to the video.
Yeah,
but
it's a claim for the video.
Yeah.
And other things, and LBC itself.
But I guess a lot of the stuff that I don't know if you'd have to modify the blockchain to actually get things like transcoding working properly. It's more like a front end issue you have to deal with.
Yeah, but consider this: when you watch videos on LBRY, the desktop program, obviously it's going to download them, and it's a lot like PeerTube, where you can connect to other people. So how will that work with transcoding? Will you download every single version of the video for different resolutions? Will different people have different resolutions? If you watch it in one resolution, you'll download that. Like, they're going to have to figure out a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's an issue. I don't know. I don't know how you deal with it. You are on PeerTube as well, though. Like, what made you want to use that one? Just because you wanted like complete control over your stuff?
Let's see. So I created it. Well, yeah, exactly that. I saw it was the first thing I ever self-hosted. My first ever website that I self-hosted. And it was a fun learning experience. It was useful for learning. And, I like it from all perspectives because, yeah, you do have full control. I like all the things you can customize. And I like that it's basically your own YouTube that you can just link over to other people's. Because it reminds me of, I don't know if you know about these sites, but there's a website called Vidly and a website called, I think it's called Bit Video. It's called like BitView,
BitView.
and they're sort of styled after old YouTube, and you can only upload videos up to 100 megabytes, only up to a certain resolution. It's like old YouTube. And what makes them so good is it just like it gives me it. I can understand from their blog posts and all this stuff.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's like one guy running it.
Mm.
It's like two people running this, and I love that. And I like that aspect of PeerTube. You can run your own, and it's like running your own little mini YouTube, and like because you can enable signups and stuff, and you can federate it with other people's. I've had tons of people federate theirs with mine. I've federated mine with only one other instance, and that's why I enjoy PeerTube because of that. And also, it offers us a great way to back up my videos, just in case Odyssey or whatever fails, which I don't think it ever will. It's still going to be there, but it's. Yeah, just to be sure, I always keep a backup of my videos on my computer. I keep a backup in other places. I got drives, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's important to have backups, and that's a great way for people to watch my videos in future. And that especially applies if YouTube ever decides to strike me more times and takes down my channel or something like that.
Yeah, I know. Luke's channel did got like temporarily taken down because of
I don't think it got temporarily taken down. He said it was going to get taken down.
Right.
He just got more strikes. He got 3 strikes in total over his history, but they've expired before he could get the other one, so he never really reached 2 strikes. So he's gotten more than 3 strikes. So his reasoning was, at some point, if this keeps happening, I'm gonna get banned. So that's his reasoning at the moment. Yeah,
because I know that one of the strikes was for like making fun of Indian tech channels, which that doesn't narrow it down to which video it would have been.
No, I know specifically what the video was. It's one where he talks about tech support and something else. Like
yeah,
it's still on Odyssey. It's still on PeerTube. You can watch it there if you want. I mean, I don't know. I feel like YouTube. It makes more sense for YouTube to take that down than it does for them to take YouTube DL down. But then again, YouTube DL, it's in theory a way for people to walk around the YouTube service despite it being perfectly legal and having no issues whatsoever. But it is, in theory, competition to their website and competition to their beautiful JavaScript telemetry-ridden website. So, yeah, I understand now why they don't like it.
Yeah, I've actually a couple of people asked me to do videos and things like New Pipe and stuff as well, and because of the YouTube DL stuff, I'm just like, I don't know whether it's going to be another strike or what the deal is.
Strike. All gone. YouTube bans, New Pipe. Just saying these words feels like I'm going to get a strike. But New Pipe has done some controversial stuff recently. Don't know if you heard about this. But they said they're going to begin removing from the New Pipe client itself. I don't know how, but they're going to begin trying to remove controversial videos that have so they basically get to dictate what comes on New Pipe and what comes off. Then again, I don't feel like people genuinely use if you're going to use YouTube on the mobile phone, chances are you're using YouTube just a regular program, or you're using YouTube Advanced, or you're using YouTube something else.
Yeah.
And the thing with these programs is either you're using it to block ads or you're using it to something else. YouTube Advanced is open source. It's good. I have the ads enabled on it personally because I prefer having them enabled. I feel bad not watching ads on videos because I know how it is to have most of your audience use ad block.
Yeah.
So when it comes to YouTube Advanced and that kind of stuff, it's safe. Yes, you're on YouTube. You're still going to be spied on. Everything is still going to be logged. And New Pipe lacks features because you can't really log in. You can't really do anything from it. So I feel like New Pipe isn't really serving a big market right now. If you're going to use YouTube, you're going to use it on the web. Or if you're going to use YouTube through New Pipe, just use a mirror. There's tons of those. There's a million different places. Yeah. Vid, I think there's VI YouTube, something like that. All these places. And I found out about these because sometimes I go to some obscure search engine. I search up my name to see what shows up, Denshi video, and then I'm like, oh, what is this video site? Oh, it's just a mirror YouTube. Interestingly though, there has been some random blog website reposting my videos and a couple of other YouTuber Linux YouTubers videos. It doesn't repost them, doesn't re-upload them. It just links them to YouTube. It's not like I lose out on any views or anything. So there's no monetary incentive, but it's just weird. The only pattern I've discerned from it is that they only do this for open videos that are under Creative Commons, which most of my videos are. So hold on, let me look for it. I think I have it somewhere.
I did have someone who actually re-uploaded my video, and they're like, "Oh, this is under Creative Commons," and I haven't uploaded a single one of my videos under Creative Commons. So they're just like straight up
Oh, I
lying
see.
about it.
I'm gonna see if I can find this. Oh, I'm glad that my PeerTube instance is showing up on Google searches if you search for Denshi video. That's good. So is my LBRY, so that's pretty good as well. Hold up. Let's see if I can find this. And my Odyssey. That's excellent.
Oh, they've fixed up SEO stuff. Nice.
And another thing. So search engine optimization clearly is working, but I'm trying to figure out if I can find this specific one,
Wait,
like
what
this
Wait,
weird website.
just under your YouTube channel, we get Denshi Video Cult on the Denshi Wiki fandom.
Oh yes, that's a beautiful article. Denshi Wiki on the fandom is discontinued. We have a self-hosted media wiki, which I host on my computer on the one that's IRL.com at Denshi Video. Oh, wait a second. I didn't set this up. What the frick is this? I'm gonna have to report this. This isn't me. It appears that someone has been mirroring my live streams on IRL.com.
I've never
Which is a website where people, it's a website where basically people like post, it's like, you know how you had Facebook events, like you could set a Facebook party, Facebook this. It's like that, but like that concept, but it's like the entire website. So it's IRL.com because in real life. And somebody has made an account for me and started posting my live streams. I think it's a bot doing this. Hold up. Upcoming plans. Who did this? Why? Out of everything you could have done. There's also, of course. Oh, here's another one. So this is unrelated to that other website I found, but this is it's like one of my videos that I deleted, and it's under a page called Denshi Video Old Videos. And it's one of my videos that I deleted where I was like teaching how to install Debian or something. And it just links to my YouTube videos. That's good. What is this? Like, I'm assuming there's like a bot that crawls around all of like YouTube searching for Linux videos or tech related videos so it can repost them on these places. The weirdest thing is this IRL.com. But anyway, hold up. I need to. Oh, here it is. I found the website that reposts my and other people's videos. It's called easytudo.net. I'll just link one of my videos here on the Jitsi. Hold up. Also, so this also me and a couple of other people. If you go to EasyTudo's homepage, you'll find there's. Oh, by the way, it most likely spies on you for your information. So you should definitely clear your browser cache after going to this site because there's some weird stuff on this. So there's a lot of. If you go to the Linux section, OS Linux section, you'll find there's tons of like there's like Spanish YouTubers who make Linux videos. Lots of Spanish YouTubers. There's people talking about Kali Linux. I know for a fact there's people talking about other stuff. Like let's search up what's a famous Linux YouTuber again. There's what's that guy? No, I'm pretty sure Luke Smith videos are on here now.
Okay. Chris.
There's a guy called I know there's like one. Let's search for Chris Titus. I don't know if any of his videos are. You found him on EasyTudo?
Yeah.
Yep. I found him too. There he is. Oh, and also oh yeah, the Linux Gamers videos are here too. So there's this website. Then there's another website that also does this. There's a few other websites that do this. I don't know what these people are doing, but there's some kind of bot here, I'm assuming. And all of these videos are under the name of one guy, Devin Barton. It's such a weird thing. Devin Barton is supposedly the publisher of all of these things. So some kind of bot goes through these and looks for videos on YouTube and re-uploads them to this weird website.
Oh, it's my video.
I think I talked about this in some video. Oh, you found your videos?
Yeah, I just found one of mine on Lenovo Linux ThinkPads. Why is that the video?
Fascinating.
Wait, who's make your own Linux distro? I reckon. Who's that one? Oh, it's the Real Geeks. Why is the Real Geeks video here? This just uploads anybody's Linux video. So
anybody's Linux video shows up on EasyTudo, and there's a couple of other websites like this. So what I'm currently trying to figure out, I definitely need to delist my fandom. I gotta get rid of this so it's poisoning my search results. But privacy focused. Hold up.
Yes.
There's some people who have been linking me on megabyte.co apparently.
Okay.
Oh, excellent. My video's shown up in a few articles on megabyte.co. Probably a bot written entire site, judging by the giant wallpaper on megabyte.co that says blog and just the word blog and then stock images behind it. And and there's a link to one of my videos. Just use Signal, where they do it. But this is innocent. They're just making an article on Signal. Yeah, that makes sense. There's a few other things here. What else is there here? There's
Yeah, it's one thing to like link to your stuff on some weird website. But you know, re-uploading is a whole nother thing.
yeah, that is an entire different thing.
Yeah, okay, this is just linking.
At least they're linking them.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
not
that's just
talking
linkable,
about
that's
some
fine.
kind of weird. Oh, there's another website that also has stolen my video. Not stolen, sorry, just reposted it in a really weird way. Like, it appears that there's these automated systems, and what they're doing is they're writing articles for websites, blogs, and stuff, and they're scanning through YouTube for relevant videos, and then they're just getting those, copying the tags with the YouTube DL or YouTube API or whatever, and then banking that people are going to go to this website for like tech news that other people are generating for them. And fair enough, they're only stealing videos that are Creative Commons, at least as far as I can see. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. I knew
I keep getting links.
I knew content like this would be somewhere weird, but you know, I hadn't done a much of a search for it.
Yeah, I tend to do a lot of this because I know there are people out there trying to steal videos and trying to do that kind of stuff, mostly on Facebook and these kind of places.
Yeah,
but it's not always a super big issue. Yeah, but I guess the only places I know for a fact where you can find re-uploads of things are on sometimes I find people re-uploading my stuff to BitView for random reasons. Sometimes, but it's mostly just like memes or something, so I don't really care. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. So,
but thank you for letting me know about that. I might do a bit of a dig into this and see what I can find.
Yeah, but if I search Luke Smith, I should be able to find his website. Yeah, Luke Smith shows up. If you search for Luke Smith, one big word, it shows up his personal website, and also if you search Luke and Smith, I'm on DuckDuckGo, but he shows up on different places, so that's good. My search engine optimization isn't maximally good. What is it?
Just what?
What is this?
Why do I have an IMDb page?
Look at the photos. See all 3 photos.
Who made this?
Who made this?
Oh my god!
Don't you have to be approved to make these? Like, episode guide, 2 episodes, and the episodes are Welcome to My Channel and Camlink 4K. I should have upgraded earlier.
Why are those the videos?
I don't think I'm on here, but if somebody who's approved on this made Brody Robertson, then they're probably gonna make Denshi soon and other people. I expect that to happen at some point. I don't know.
My official site is Odyssey. Oh, they've linked to my Odyssey. They haven't linked to my YouTube.
Hey, that's good. That's excellent.
Well,
I am still concerned about this IRL.com thing though. This is not me on this IRL.com.
No.
I didn't set these up. Somebody stole them from me.
I don't do much ego searching.
Am I able? Yeah, I need to report this to something. Am I able to report But no, it does no harm. I'm assuming the videos themselves are linked or something. Yeah, it just links to the videos. It's not like really doing any harm. But who's running this? How do they know who I am? Who set this? I don't want somebody else to have control over an account on social media. I don't want people being tricked into donating to this or something like that, because that can genuinely happen. At least it didn't get posted to like one of those sham like cryptocurrency social media sites.
Yeah,
Crypto like BitClout or whatever, that kind of weird stuff. At least I'm not on there.
I've been watching Barnacles just like lose his mind on Twitter going after BitClout.
Oh yeah.
What is Git memory? What is this? Oh, okay, it just tracks my GitHub. That's fine. Okay, I thought it was some like weird thing I just managed to show up on. I'm just going through pages on Google, just seeing what I can find. I'm not seeing anything too bad. There's my subscribe style. That's fine. No, I'm not seeing anything else. Okay, there's a couple of other people.
Good. That's excellent.
Yeah, well, maybe something else will show up. Wait, I'm on this. Wait, what? I don't know whether I want to open up this website. It's a very sketchy link.
Oh, there's somebody talking about.
Oh, you cut out. Sorry.
Oh no, okay, let's take a look at this.
I don't know if I want to click on it, to be honest. Like that link just doesn't look inviting.
Oh no, that's disgusting. IQ options. Oh, there's a website called linuxlove.com that has reposted my video.
Oh, lovely. I'm
Yeah,
gonna see
that's
if I'm
good.
there. No, apparently I'm not. Wow. That
Linux
sucks.
Love. Linux. No, it's not Linux Love. Linuxov.com. Without the L. It's linuxove.com.
Oh, okay. No, it doesn't seem like I'm there. Wait, do I have a second? Wait, I'm sorry, what? Oh, no, they just linked to the picture. I thought I had a second IMDb page. No, it's just the same one. For some reason, my profile picture is showing up in the search results. Like, just a direct link to it.
It appears your profile picture has made it to IMDb, so who knows how far it can get.
Well, I'm happy I found out about that. But we've been going for about a bit over 2 hours now. So I think it's probably as good a time as any to end off the podcast.
Yeah, it's about time to stop.
Usually what I do towards the end of this is give some random channel that you've been watching a shout out, or maybe like a project you want to talk about, just anything you think deserves some more attention.
I know exactly what channel to shout out now. There's an excellent on Odyssey, the official Uno. I don't know. I'll probably give you a link to put that in the description, I guess. Great channel, is a great guy, makes great videos on music and other things. He's making a lot of them. He's on Odyssey and not on YouTube, because a lot of the stuff that he talks about, like he talks about the censorship of Eminem in his first video, which it includes a lot of things that probably will get him completely cut off from YouTube. So he has to be on Odyssey. That's the only lifeline he really has. Excellent videos, very well edited, and I absolutely love them. He also has an art channel also on Odyssey where he posts art that he makes in Blender. Great Blender artist. So that's a guy I definitely want to shout out. Great videos, great everything. Can't wait to see more. Yeah, the official Uno.
When I search for the official Uno on Odyssey, I get links to your videos.
Weird.
Well, the ones you did. With official Uno.
The official Uno.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. But, I just put. I can give you a link to his Odyssey page, and one of his videos is reposted on my Odyssey account anyway. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, there's always that.
Okay, awesome. As for me, let's see. I never actually planned this out. I just like come up with it on the spot.
Just guess.
Yeah, whatever. Just some random thing I'm watching. Oh, no, don't stop playing that. I don't know. I genuinely don't know today. Go watch the lockpicking lawyer. Yeah, do that. He has 1 million subs, but the lockpicking lawyer is a fun channel.
All right.
He's got like 1,200 videos where he just picks a lock. It's like 3 minutes long. He just pick a lock and be like, this lock is stupid. Yeah.
Never seen any of his videos, but that seems like an interesting channel.
Yeah.
Picking locks.
He just goes over like the flaws with the locks and like what locks you should have like avoid and stuff. It's a fun channel.
Oh yeah, that's probably useful for anybody who cares about security. Chances are, if you use Linux, you probably care a lot about your system security. You care about your security of your information, and you probably care about the security of your physical objects. So if you go watch Lockpicking Lawyer on YouTube, you're going to have access to all the information you sort of need to pick the right locks that are hyper secure. And good for locking all your personal stuff so it doesn't get stolen or gets cracked by someone. So yeah, anybody who cares a lot about security will probably love that channel.
Pretty much, yeah. That's as good as a recommendation I could give it. Do you have where can people find you? Yeah, there we go. Where can people find you?
Me or anyone else?
You. Where can people find your stuff?
You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Matrix. You can find me on Discord. You can find me on
just Denshi video everywhere.
Denshi video is in a lot of places. But the main places are Odyssey and YouTube and my PeerTube. That's the 3 main places. PeerTube's got an RSS feed. You can go to the RSS feed, add that to your RSS feed, which I know all the hip kids are using RSS feeds these days. You got to use that. There's also an RSS feed on my personal website, Denshi.live, but that's just blogs and other stuff. You can join us mining. We're mining WoW Narrow. We're close to finding a blog. We're probably going to find one in 4 months or so. And if more people mine, the faster we find one. So yeah, and that gets distributed among the miners. So that's a good thing. So there's that. There's Odyssey. You can go there. You can tip. You can just watching as a verified Odyssey user. If you watch my videos, I get LBC for that. So just if you're verified on Odyssey or just anybody who's on Odyssey, you can watch my videos and you're supporting me automatically. Besides the tip feature. And of course, watching on YouTube is also helping. And yeah, that's my stuff. If you want to talk to people who are similar to me or who like things that I like, or who watch my sort of videos and enjoy them, or just talk about completely unrelated stuff most of the time, then you can join our Matrix community and our Discord server, which are bridged over like Brody's. So you can chat on Discord. It shows up on Matrix. Chat on Matrix. It shows up on Discord. So that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Cool. I'll leave links to all of that in the description as well if anyone wants to check that out. Anything you forgot about, just send me a link to afterwards. I'll put it up.
Yeah.
Cool. As for me, I would like to thank my supporters. So a special thank you to Joachim, Donald, Michael, Andrew, Nathan, David, Will, Brennan, Chica, Bento, Jamie, Joseph, Mitchell, Peter D, Stephen, Tony, Shah, and all of the $2 supporters. If you'd like to support work, there are links in the description somewhere. There's like Patreon, Subscribestar, all of that stuff. I think I had crypto addresses, but I think I got rid of them for a while. Maybe I'll add them back.
Yeah.
Monero, yeah. I'll put Monero on Bitcoin there. Sure, why not? If you want to go watch my main channel stuff, that's Brody Robertson, but most of you guys are probably from there. If you're listening to the audio version of this, the video version is available on YouTube and Odyssey. If you are a video watcher, the audio version, if you search for Tech of a T, it's everywhere. You'll find it. It's anything that has like a podcast RSS feed, you can watch it on. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. I'll give you the final words. What do you want to say?
Oh yeah, I actually have an important question to ask you, and it's relating to technology. Is it really possible to use OpenBSD as a daily driver?
Some of the guys on my Discord seem to think so, but I don't believe it.
It is. Paranoid Life did it for about a year and a half, and his thoughts. That's his video. Yeah, it probably is possible. I don't know.
If you specifically decide on the hardware you want, maybe so, but like... Maybe.
The year of the BSD desktop is not far.
No, definitely not. It's next year, definitely.
Yeah,
next year's
the one. OpenBSD on every computer.
It's
gonna become a reality.
Well, this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching, and I guess we'll end it. Yeah. I don't know how to end the podcast. I've been doing this 61 times. Don't know how to end it. Yeah. I'm gonna stop recording now.